Hey everybody, what's going on? Frank Stocks here. Nothing to say is financial advice, entertainment purposes only. Twitter space call with Terrible, Spence, Stocktwits, and Swing Trade Mars talking about AMC and Ryan Cohen.
But if you do that, you don't have to do any marketing. You don't have to do anything else. The word of mouth effect of delighting customers is what ends up paying off. Like, I've had an animal for pretty much my entire life, and I don't really remember seeing any Chewy ads, but I was well aware of it, from being a pet owner and knowing other people with pets, and the customer, just the customer journey, the customer story that you hear. So if he's able to take those ingredients and bring it to Bed Bath & Beyond or Bye Bye Baby or GameStop and all those things, then they're probably going to be some pretty good turnaround stories.
I could not agree more. Very, very well said, Swing.
I think Ryan Cohen probably takes a little bit of heat because he's bringing competition to the e-commerce sector, which there's a lot of people that we even know that are, working towards investments in e-commerce on other platforms. So I don't know why you would go after the guy, though. He's literally, all he's doing is just trying to save these companies. So I'm not sure where the hostility is coming from, other than you're just mad about your short position.
Well, and he doesn't do the circuit. He doesn't go to and talk to Bloomberg and CNBC and chat up what he's doing and give these people the inside scoop of what's going on to make them look good. All of those types of things. That's probably an element of it. All these they love getting it. Like, I'm sure that they have been blowing up Cohen to try and get him on the air and talking about what's going on, and he's basically been radio silent the entire time, and the media probably doesn't like that, partially because they probably feed that information back to their hedge fund friends, but also they know that it'd be popular. We would tune into something like that, and that they want the attention, they want the eyeballs, and he's not giving it to them. So. But Tara, good call. Great knowing that you were the catalyst. Thank you. I'm sure it was your, however many share buy, that was the catalyst for the price action this afternoon.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome. That big green candle was all me.
Little do we know, Terrible's playing with like a $10 million port, and that candle was just her buy-in.
Don't give away all my secrets, Swing. Maybe my name should be Swing. I'm able to swing the price like real drastically. What were you gonna say?
I was like, you have to increase payments to me if I'm going to keep quiet.
I'll call Ken Griffin and see if he can allow it in the budget.
Ken Griffin, who needs him? Terrible's the baller, causing big green candles.
Yeah, but according to several people on Twitter, we're all paid by hedge funds. So.
Oh, I forgot. My check hasn't come or cleared yet, so I guess I forgot about that. Sorry.
So it looks like institutions, from the post I'm seeing up top from Stockwitz, is institutions are still slamming up on the calls, huh?
Yeah, they're definitely still doing that. One of the things that we talked about a couple of days ago is some consolidation there to the support levels and retest them, and really if they continue loading and what they do moving forward, I think will set the tone. And I think that from all those screenshots, I think it definitely does. I don't think that it's done yet for its move. I think we can still go some more. May take a little bit of time and a little bit of calculation in between. But I think eventually that the data will be right.
So it sounds like, at least for now, we should be looking for opportunities to load into dips, because that's what those are. It's just repositioning to lower cost basis on the institutional side, right? Like they're just kind of moving in and out of positions to lower cost basis and or shake people out, that type of thing.
Yeah, so they are mitigating their risk on a day-to-day by trading the options, but they do have a strategy in place, per se, in my opinion, that started back in July 10th, around there.
It's going to be a pretty serious next couple of weeks, that's for sure, because when you have mainstream media personalities who've been bashing the stock the entire time, basically saying, hey, this is going to squeeze the shorts. And that's exactly what Gasparino said. Not that, he has very verifiable information, but this ape dividend thing is definitely going to push some shorts out of the game. That's for sure. I'm pretty excited. Buying these call options is pretty smart on the institution side at this point, because if the price does go parabolic, they have a good opportunity to get the shares they need. So hopefully everybody is as diamond handed as they say on the 22nd. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen. I think that AMC is performing how it needs to, in my opinion, for us to get to where we need to go. They want a specific level. That level at first was 25, and I think there's one more level to go, personally.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines the price the stock should be sitting at regardless is at least $30, but $20 was really important. They tried to push us down below that today. That was a definite call out that I did. Right around, I think, 2075 was telling people, hey, AMC is getting ready to rebound. They were trying really hard today to get us back down into the teens. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we cross that $27 range. It would be extremely awesome if after the 22nd we start popping and we get over $30. Adam Aaron comes out with, hey, by the way, we're ready to launch the credit card or the popcorn in retail grocery stores. That would really send everything over the top, man. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's. I thought I heard during the call that that's going to be the retail popcorn thing might be a next year thing, because I remember in Q1, Adam talked about basically the purchase agreements happen. I think in the fall or something like that, as far as like how you have to get your agreements for the grocery store, as far as where your placement is and on the shelves and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, he could come out and surprise it last minute about it, obviously, but he could do that. But I think he mentioned something about next year for the popcorn when he was talking about the delivery being successful in the test cities and looking to roll that out nationwide and other things. But could have been a under promise over deliver type thing too. So we'll see. Stockwitz, what are you seeing on the BBBY and GME front, as far as the options? Are you seeing any of the similar type of activity that you're seeing in AMC, as far as repositioning and starting to hedge higher prices and things like that?
Yeah, I am actually for BBBY. I see a bunch of $10 calls, $45 calls, $20 calls. There's yesterday, not yesterday, sorry, on the 2 days ago, they purchased about $1 million worth of $20 calls, expiring November 18th. They also loaded $10 calls today, but that move downwards was anticipated because I saw that they did load to mitigate their risk in between $10 puts, $11 puts, $9 puts, which they hit. For GME is interesting for me because, you know, the reverse split happened recently, and since then, I mean, it looks really bullish. They loaded $3 million worth of in the money $12.50 calls for January 2023, and then since then they've loaded $40 calls, $80 calls, $45 calls, a lot of $60 calls, $48 calls, and then today, or not today, they didn't load anything today, but the last one was on the 8th for $50 calls. So, and they did load the $40 puts to mitigate the risk in between for that drop. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Why has Fox News got to be so salty? Fox Business. Why are they coming after Adam Aaron for denying to do an interview with Gasparino? He literally was just on the Clayman show not even like how many days ago. Now they're going to go after him for character. You know, they're going to try to assassinate his character because the business plan and the fundamentals, the short thesis has been blown apart on that. So now they'll start going after him as a character. It's pretty pathetic. Which is what they're doing to Ryan Cohen, which is also pathetic.
But hey, guys, we have to be nice to Jim Cramer because, you know, we've been beating him up too much, according to Adam. I thought that was kind of hilarious.
I'm glad he did it in the way he did, though. It was more like, all right, everybody quit picking on Jim Cramer.
I wonder, speaking of Jim, I don't know if you heard, Spence, that, oh, gosh, Farmer Bro guy, I'm blanking on his name, used to work
Scarelli?
Yes, Scarelli worked for
Scarelli or whatever.
Yeah, worked for Jim. I wonder if Scarelli took the advantage of that dip today to cover his position, or if he
just like kind of disappeared. Like I haven't seen him do anything lately. Him and Coors had some kind of thing going on or whatever, some kind of competition, which I think is all manufactured for views and likes. But
the Scarelli actually came on our call a couple nights ago and talked about how he was long AMC, then he went short right before earnings, basically, and he's underwater on that position. I mean, he could have bailed. I think his cost base is somewhere around 19, so he could have almost got out today if he took advantage of that dip. But
why would you short a company knowing the CEO has a major catalyst pending that he warned everybody about? Because, like, literally, that's all we've been talking about for weeks.
Because he says the fundamentals, you know, he looked at the balance sheet and everything, and he says the market it's over its market cap, so therefore must short.
Well, he is Pharma Bro. I mean, bro is in his name, so.
I don't know. It was an interesting conversation because I asked him some questions about, you know, the logic behind, because what I've found through all these spaces we've run is like the the shorts always come back to, well, it's valuations. It's all about the valuations, etc., and not putting. It's like they really discount who the ownership base is and how passionate they are, as well as future potential. Whereas obviously bulls are looking at what the future can be, not what was in the past. So that's where the fight between the bulls and the bears happen, and the future tells who wins, and that's, I think, why it's so much harder to be a bear in a lot of ways, because the future for a lot of companies is bright. There's obviously there's ones that don't make it, but a company that has 100-year history, that's tough to bet against. During the pandemic, I get it. Like, they couldn't make any money. Like, okay, if anything, that's too easy of a short. That's
government
too easy
forced them to not make money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's one of those where it's like, okay, the financial industry during 2007, they didn't allow shorts. Like, why didn't they stop shorts of businesses that were forced closed during the pandemic? That would have made sense.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the biggest market crimes of all, is when the U.S. Congress and governors of each state forced closed businesses, but then allowed them to openly be shorted on the stock market. That's almost like collusion, in my opinion. I think it was absolutely crazy. Push the Amazon was what it seemed like to me. But did you guys see this stuff with BBIG, the OCC letter that got put out?
Says, I'm not in that place, so I haven't really been monitoring it.
I'm in it. I just got in it at 69 cents. Ooh. But they put out a letter on August 8th on stock restriction and said, due to trading halts as of Monday, August 8th, until further notice, Vinco Ventures are no longer eligible for stock loan or collateral pledge at OCC. Only share reducing transactions will be allowed on outstanding stock loan and borrow positions. So that's kind of a big deal for a meme stock, which their suspension should be coming up here maybe Friday. I think it's a 10-day suspension. But just interesting side note.
So they stopped trading because the OCC is pulling it from the options market. That's what
I think they got halted for internal strife. There's some people on the board that are basically trying to, push out the CEO. And it got pretty bad where they had posted some official company statements that weren't authorized and had to take them down. So I think the NASDAQ is trying to figure out what's going on the internal. I'm thinking that's why they got halted. But as a result of that, the OCC is basically taking it down off the options market. So when this thing opens back up, if there's no tradable options or they're close only, and it comes back off of a suspension, it could move. It could move pretty hard. So it's so hard to decipher what's actually going on with it, because there's so much drama, I guess, on the board of directors right now that who knows. But just another meme stock potential catalyst for the entire market. If this thing pops, it could wreck some shorts. So.
Hey, Froggy, hi, Tara. How y'all doing today?
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Tara, remember me still? Hey, Froggy?
Who's Froggy? Are you talking to Spence?
Yeah, talking to Spence.
Remind me.
You kept popping up in my feed, so I had to block you.
Oh, you're that guy.
Anyway, so I just had two questions, really. I haven't been, I keep away AMC, but this whole week's has been crazy for me. But I just want to know, it's like a yes or no question. Should I be worried about APE or not? Like, should I worry?
No, but wait, hold on. Did you say you keep away from AMC?
No. It's just that for like a past week, I haven't been keeping up with it. But since I was gone,
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
APE dividend came out, and some, it's already fun about dilution and all that stuff. I just want to know, should I worry about yes or no? Or
I mean, I think you should always worry about your investment, what's being done, what's going on in, the details of this dividend, and just be prepared for what will happen. I mean, because the CEO put out, all the tweets with the information that people continue to kind of dissect, but it's pretty straightforward, in my opinion. It says that AMC, the APE dividend will be worth the value or half the value. So 50% of whatever the value of AMC is at, which I don't know which day they go off of. Does anyone know specifically? Will it be on the 15th? Whatever AMC is trading at on that day will be 50% of the value of APE. Spence or Swing, do you guys know?
I'll pull up the official documents real quick from the website.
It will be determined by market, but by the reality, both should be trading at about 50%, because what you've basically done is doubled the capital stack, and the company should be worth about the same amount of money. Obviously, there's daily price fluctuations of stock. Stock can go up 1, 2, 3, 5, 10% a day, or go down by that much. So, you have that factor. But in general, you're doubling the number of shares. Mind you, the only people that are going to have those shares are the same people that owned them on Friday. So each person on Monday is going to have twice as many shares. One half of them are going to be apes. One half of them are going to be AMC shares. So because of that, in general, you should have twice as many shares at half the price that you did on Friday, plus or minus whatever percentage move the AMC makes that day.
all right, good info. Thank you very much for that. I also had one more question. It's a little bit off related, but it's about the SPY. So some people are saying after the APE goes out, this play should be wrapping up. Theoretically, a lot of people are saying, AMC should be wrapping up. The squeeze should be happening after everybody receives their APE. And I was wondering, is there going to be a mass liquidation for pretty much the overall market? I know it sounds like a dumb question, but there's been a lot of hedge funds and large institutions have been puts on the SPY. So we should expect that because they're already game playing, right? If anybody has this information.
Well, if shorts get cornered and they're forced to close due to this dividend, there could be liquidations in other stocks to try to cover these positions. I mean, if there's billions of shares out there, then where's all that money going to come from? I'm pretty sure they just don't have it on hand right now. They're going to have to liquidate, or they're going to have to use that DTCC loan program that they set up where they will give them their long positions for cash. But I mean, that, in my opinion, it could cause a market melt up.
Yeah, I mean, I would caution anyone making any plays based off of that type of assumption. I mean, I have heard and seen, and Stockwitz can talk about, the puts that are out there. I think most of the puts that I've heard about are out in September rather than August, so they have some time to realize that downside. But with today's move, part of that could have been them expecting or protecting themselves from a downward move because of maybe a surprise in inflation, and they didn't get it. If anything, inflation started rolling over. So market, if you think about market psychology wise, if CPI is rolling over, that means that the Fed isn't going to have to raise rates as much or as quickly as they thought that they might. Literally market wide, I think the expectations of a 75% hike went down to a 50 point hike. in September. So that move alone kind of shows, okay, the Fed's not going to be quite as accommodative, and now they're predicting that might be that could be the last rate hike, and after that, it's actually going to be, they're going to have to loosen up rates after that because because of things that might transpire in the market. So, if the position is that the Fed is going to be more dovish rather than hawkish, we could, like Sven said, have a melt up rather than a market crash. I would also caution anybody to say that that the split is going to be the end of the run or the end of the catalyst. Like, we're going to all wake up Monday. No, like, that isn't how it'll work. It'll take, if you look at the case of Overstock, to use that as an example, only because they did the same thing in that they offered a preferred stock to their existing shareholders, and in which case I think I heard from somebody it was like a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 offering. So you got one preferred share for every 10 that you owned, or every 5 that you owned, something like that. But that took about 5 months to squeeze.
Yeah, that was March to August. It took that time frame for Overstock to hit its peak at $128.
Yeah, so
that's if it is done,
Yeah, and so I would set expectations that it could take some time, and there's different market mechanic reasons why. In that, okay, so it does start to squeeze, then people start to cover, then it continues. Then you also have ETFs starting to recall their shares possibly for rebalancing, because now they have to get their hands on APE and AMC in order to have their funds be whole. They're going to talk to the shorts because they've lent out all their shares, and it's going to take some time to realize. I think that's something that we should take away, I think, from the January sneeze and some of those things that were much more flash moves. I think for both GameStop and AMC, probably for BBBY too, we're going to see more of a Tesla-like action of a slow momentum, constantly having to rehedge, move the price targets up. They're going to want to short it back down eventually, but it's not going to be on that same kind of move because the companies themselves have been given the time to transform. So it's almost like the meme stock flat. The movements in the meme stocks were looking ahead 2 years into the future, and they say that the markets look 6 months ahead, but we were looking a year or 2 years ahead at what was going to happen. And so now the market's going to start seeing the transformations in the companies that the meme stock movement saw well in the future. So yeah, I'm kind of prepared for we might be on these calls next summer and be talking about AMC at a price that none of us would have expected, or GameStop at a price that no one would have expected, and because the transformations happened, and now Wall Street is recognizing it. They're all the institutions that are starting to buy in because they now see what we saw in January or in December of 2020.
So just so everybody knows, because I got a couple questions about the dates. The 19th of August, that's when the special dividend is expected to be paid at the close of business on the 19th of August. So you're definitely, if you're trying to get it, you want to try to buy it before the 15th. I mean, you want your trades to be cleared by the 15th. And then on the 22nd, it should start trading on the NYSE under the ticker APE. As a
AMC is ripping right now. I'm just letting you guys know. We're back over 2360.
Oh.
Spence, I agree with you. Sooner the better for owning it so that you don't run into issues. However, the way that AMC set this up. If you buy it anytime before market close on the 19th, you are owed the dividend. So while
is that with, say you buy it on the 16th and you have to wait 3 days for your shares to clear, will you still get the dividend if you buy it between the 15th and the 19th?
if you buy it anytime before market close on the 19th, eventually you should get them, mind you.
Okay.
But could something
Bill?
haywire? Absolutely. But the way that they set this up is that because they're doing the snapshot on the 15th, but anybody who buys it up until the 19th, they bought it from someone who had the shares on the 15th. You see what I'm saying? So like it just kind of follows.
Gotcha.
It follows the transaction. It's called a due bill. So when you sell your shares, you're not only selling your AMC shares, you're selling it with the due bill of the APE shares as well. And so the DT, rather than the person who had the shares on the 15th getting the APE, they go along with the transaction to the final owner, on market close on the 19th, or whoever bought it, whoever bought it the last. So that's how that's supposed to work.
My house sale is probably going to complete like right after the 19th. Almost guaranteed. I'm going to miss having a huge lump sum of money after this is issued.
You never know. I mean, games, every split's different. GameStop did dip for a couple days, not a lot, but it did come down a little bit post split, and then it's now trading above the split price. So you might have a dip buy opportunity.
Yeah, I'm talking about getting my funds from my house sale. It's probably going to be my house closings. The closing's probably going to be after the 19th or the 20th. So I think I'm going to miss out on a big chunk of money I could get in to get more APE. But I guess if APE comes down, I could still buy it that way.
Yeah, you can just market order on Fidelity, APE, APE shares. So because I haven't talked. I should probably do that. Maybe I'll even take a break from talking and call up Schwab while we're on here and see what they have to say about PCO or not, far as the ape dividend, if what they're planning on doing with that.
Does anybody know if Fidelity is going to be PCO? It'd be good to get a list of brokers that are going to allow the sale of it. That would probably be something good to post.
Yeah, I heard from, again, this is a trust me bro, because I heard it from somebody on Twitter, but I heard that Fidelity is going to allow purchasing, which doesn't really surprise me given their track record on everything else that they've done up to this point. So
you know what I really love about all this, in the wording that Adam Aaron used in his tweets and in the official AMC statement that was put up on Investor Relations, it says our current company issued shares, right? They really worded it specifically to say everybody that has current issued shares from the company and our current shareholder base will get APE. Almost like they're basically telling institutions, we know what you guys are doing. You're not going to get the dividend. Like this is going to be a pretty big deal. It's going to be really fun. August 22nd is going to be very fun.
We know what you did last summer.
Basically, that's it. I mean, even Gasparino had to come out and flip his stance on Fox, saying, yeah, this is going to corner the shorts because he knows what's coming.
I'm not a financial advisor at all, but Spence, I got to believe that all these places like Robinhood and Webull that are gonna have position close only, they're gonna write IOUs to all those people that are position close only, and they're gonna dump the APE in one last ditch effort. So you'll have a chance.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad. Man, it bugs me so much that people are DMing me going, "Is it too late to transfer from Webull and Robinhood?" If you've been here for over 12 months and you're still, unless you're keeping some shares in Robinhood for some legal thing later on, the fact that people are still using these shady brokers is absolutely a sign that the community is not putting enough effort in to make things happen properly, which one is getting your shares into a broker like Fidelity, even just for the simple fact that when you get into Fidelity, you can DRS for free. So that's another option that you have that's a benefit by going to a better broker. These trading app brokers are probably going to get blown up. I mean, what is Robinhood even trading at? Has any? We haven't checked that in a while. Let's see what Hood's trading at.
Has anyone done a health check on Vlad?
Yeah, $10, floating around the $10 range, and that's only on rumors of the news of FTX buying it out. I think. I heard there's a lemon shortage. But imagine this: Robinhood almost fell apart once just from a normal market event on January 21st, or I'm sorry, January 27th. Imagine what's going to happen on a catalyst market event like this. They ain't going to be able to facilitate anything. Wouldn't be surprised if they just ended up liquidating people.
Swing, I know we talked about it the other day, but isn't it a pretty safe bet? I mean, we say it bounced today, but they have every intention on keeping this above $20. Isn't that what we talked about the other day? It's like, because if it splits and goes to under $10, they're all fucked, aren't they?
I don't necessarily know if I buy into that thesis. Do I think it's going to continue to go up because of other market dynamics? Yeah, but I wouldn't be shorting it into this. I have a hard time imagining doing that especially without having it hedged by having some call options so that I can get my hands on. Because I was trying to think of market mechanic wise, like what would I do? Like if I was stuck in a short, how would I try to cover myself? The only thing all that I can think of is going temporarily long, and getting some calls so that I could obtain some shares.
I think they would be happy to get it under 20, just because of the margin and what have you. I don't see that as too much of a benefit for them to keep it up above 20.
Well, I'm just saying, like when it splits and goes to 10, under 10 they have a margin problem, don't they?
I wouldn't think so. Like if it was at 18, it'd be 9 to 9 kind of thing. Unless I'm not understanding the margin question.
I thought they had like 5 times margin and requirement at under $10 or something, or was it?
I totally forgot about that. That's an excellent point. I totally forgot. I don't know how that relates. I think you're right.
That's why they tried to drag it to 20 today. I made a tweet earlier. I said $20 range is extremely important for them, and it always has been.
Shit, I totally forgot about that. That's hilarious. You're right. So they're kind of in a pickle spot.
That's a nice way of putting it. They're definitely going to get some type of pickle. That's for sure. Another thing too that I love, I'm seeing now more apes coming out and posting to stop overcomplicating the ape dividend, man. Too many people are coming out with these videos and statements and this and dilution that and it's gonna this and that. Dude, it's literally the most simple concept. We've been talking about it for over 13 months. It's a 1-to-1 dividend, but we're getting preferred stock with voting rights. Someday, yes, maybe if everybody votes, it'll convert. Whatever. If it dilutes, now you have more shares. It's not really that big of a deal. And either way, we've seen dilution in the past on share offerings, and it made the stock price go up multiple times. So I'm not sure. I literally have not one single worry about what's coming. I feel like this is like the last hill we got to go over before you see the finish line.
I have to tell you, I just received a DM. I'm not going to say who, but it just says, "Welp, I was way wrong," laugh out loud. And I'm like reading back from our previous DMs, and they said, something about options and crypto, and they said, except I'm short AMC and you're long. So I'm assuming that that's what they were wrong about. There's so many people coming to me. I mean, I don't think you were here for it, Spence, but Martin Shkreli, like Swing was saying, showed up in here and was telling us about his mistake of going short on AMC after he was previously long. And he was having some pretty decent regrets. I wish I would have had the opportunity to speak with him. For whatever reason, when I tried to get on his space, had horrible signal, and spaces are bad. And I wanted to give him my bull thesis. And you actually went up and freaking hit it out of the park on that big call that he had, where he was asking people, for their bearish outlook or bullish outlook. And it seemed like some people who are really mouthy towards some of us got up there and just froze like a deer in headlights. And it was like so frustrating. I was like, please let me talk. I want to come up here. I want to talk to you. And I try to, DM him a little bit, but it's just different, if you can talk to someone voice to voice and on spaces like this. And it's just unfortunate. I think I don't know, that I have the power to like change his mind, but I do think that he may have thought twice about actually going short, especially that soon on AMC. But Spence, man, you killed it on that space.
Well, he's going to regret it even more when he doesn't buy Highcroft Mine, because that was the core of what I was trying to explain to him. But he got really short, and he got really I would say almost a little embarrassed as I was explaining why Highcroft was a good play to him. And he didn't want to keep hearing it because I think in a way it kind of took over the call from him. Like he was more worried about the tension being on him and him sounding the part and playing the part. So I don't know, man. I don't know why anybody would come in, go long AMC, and then start shorting it on only, a 20, 30% move, and then just get blown apart knowing that there's a huge catalyst. Not even the dividend catalyst, but the credit card and the popcorn's incoming too.
Well, he didn't know about the dividend. He shorted it on earnings, which, if you look historically as a swing play, that's a pretty safe bet. If you just remove yourself from AMC, typically they've shorted us on earnings. And then it recovers a few days later and normally ends up higher than it was before earnings. But there tends to be this a run up before earnings, short it down, and then run it after earnings, run it kind of process. And so if you're just thinking of a day trader type of mentality and you're removing yourself from the movement, you're just looking at, okay, historical trends, what do we know about AMC and how they're going to do based off of, previous times and whatever. That could have been, and even post market, it looked like it was a smart play, except then it went from being well under to, it was a smart play for a few hours. Like if he closed it in post market, he would have ended up ahead.
We talked about that though. I mean, even just us and our, DMs, we were like, yeah, it's probably going to pump and dump and then pump again. Like he shorted it on Q2 earnings. How did you not? Yeah. I mean, I know the dividend came out during a little bit before.
No, it came out during earnings. So that's the thing. Like,
it actually got dropped like 30 minutes before, I thought, though. We were in a space call and somebody had told us about it before the earnings started.
Well, they pumped it, and then they dumped it. It like went up to 19, I think, like in after hours, or maybe 1950 or something like that, and then they dumped it down to like 16 range post market. But then, if you didn't close your position basically at market open, you were underwater within a few hours.
Oh, geez, Swing! Just let me make fun of the short sellers, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's fun to poke the bears. Like our fun call yesterday, our GME safe space call. That was fun. I actually see Mr. Period down here. He joined us again.
Yeah. So yeah, I got another comment here. It says the only reason brokers will put it at PCO is because they need the ape shares to fill the naked shares they have, which is exactly right. This PCO, and I'm wondering if people are just going to get forced liquidated. I kind of see that getting ready to happen. They're going to do, these brokers and market makers are going to do whatever they can do to get you out of your ape position so they can get those dividends, those preferred shares as quickly as possible. That's why I didn't like and agree with what Matt Kors was saying the other day. If that's his personal investment strategy, whatever, but the idea that, oh, I'm going to sell ape and buy more AMC right off the bat, you're basically selling your evidence to buy the corrupted stock back again. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I think, and I read somewhere that Canada was actually, some of the brokers in Canada were talking about delivery on the 24th. I think people should really look at, and this is not financial advice, just my opinion, look at holding APE for at minimum 7 days to let all the transactions clear, to make sure everybody's shares are delivered. The whole event will be over, so we can really see who's out there who did not get their dividend delivered, and we can start logging this. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take people reporting en masse, hey, I did not receive my dividend. What's going on here? And then we're going to have to log it. We're going to have to put it together in one document and get AMC on board as quickly as possible and say, hey, man, these dividends did not get delivered as promised. There's a problem, which I'm pretty sure Adam Aaron is probably ready for. I get the feeling they already kind of have that on their mind. So,
Hey, Spence, can I add on to something real quick?
yeah, go for it, man.
So it's weird. A couple months ago, I was on Robinhood. On Robinhood, I only had about 50 shares. 50 shares, and after the buy button and all that stuff, I said, screw Robinhood. I'm not messing with them no more. So I switched it to TD Ameritrade. Okay, push forward. A few months later, out of curiosity, I just called them. I called him about something else, but I just added this question just in general. And I was asking, say, hey, because I was on Robinhood, I was on limited margin, not a margin account, limited margin. That's what Robinhood is. If nobody knows about that, it's just that you're not on margin, but you're also not on a cash account. It's right in the middle and all that stuff. So because of that, I was asking them about my shares, and they're saying on the phone, saying technically, because now for my AMC shares on TD Ameritrade, I have about 700 shares, but they're saying because I transferred from Robinhood, even though I wasn't on the margin account, I was on limited margin, they can take away my 50 shares at any time. I'm just scared for mass liquidations. So like you was talking earlier, saying they could mass liquidate people just in general. I was really wondering, should I really be worried, or should I just, I don't know, transfer again or something?
It's getting pretty close to the date, but I would still say you're safe to transfer to Fidelity. Takes about 5 days. See, TD Ameritrade in the same. Their problem is when Redbox was pumping, they literally put options to close only. Like the options chain got shut down. Basically, it said you can't buy any more call options. So they basically did.
That wasn't just TD. That was the OCC. So that was a call from the Options Clearing Corporation.
Hey, Spence, I think he should be concerned, but he doesn't want to be caught in the intermingle of a run-up. But that really sucks. I don't like that. I don't like what you got told.
You got a good solid week before. If you're worried about TD, you got a good solid week to transfer your shares to Fidelity with no issues at this point.
I question. So what you're telling me, I believe whatever you were told about it. I just don't understand the logic behind it. If you bought the shares and they're now in TD account, what that has to do with, unless you have a margin, some sort of margin situation on TD, I don't see why they would liquidate a position that was on another broker that isn't even the existing broker. That doesn't make sense to me, and because of that, I don't know what switching to yet another broker would do to help solve that equation.
That's what I was thinking. The same thing too, because my TD Ameritrade is all cash. All my accounts are cash. It's just the TD. Like I said, a lot of people don't know this. That's why I just let everybody know. It is limited margin if you don't activate margin. So there's no such thing as a cash account. Just recently with their updates, now they're having cash accounts. Now they're having cash accounts because they see people leaving like crazy. But yeah, that's what's running the same thing. Let's just say I got those AMC shares. Let's just say I changed it to another broker. What's stopping from I'm not saying Fidelity will do it, but what's stopping from Fidelity, Webull, like I said, Vanguard, Schwab from doing the same thing? Hey, you bought these on limited margin. You transferred to a cash account, but you know what? We're still going to take it away because the brokers are going to do some sneaky shit. Everybody knows they're going to do some sneaky. And what's stopping them from saying, you know what? We called 50 of your shares, Richard, so we're going to take all other 650. I hope they don't, but it's a possibility.
That's why I've been buying shares with computer share and direct registering, man. And so many people have given me so much shit over this direct registration stuff. And it's literally the most simple thing. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. I know that I have shares in computer share that I can access at any time that are direct registered that cannot be touched. I still have some shares in my broker with Fidelity, but now I have dual platform and I for sure have an opportunity to get everything that I'm owed with at least one platform. So any AMC shares I've been buying, especially since the div announcement, has all been on computer share.
Hey, Spence, one thing I wanted to talk about that you brought up, as far as holding APE and that. I mean, GameStop had their split on like the 22nd of July, I think. And that still hasn't been worked out by some brokers throughout the world. And it's August 10th. So, it's not going to be just a one day thing. Especially if the pressure is what we think it is. It seems to me that pretty clear that something's going amok there. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I've even considered the second that they've hit my account and cleared, calling up Schwab and having them transferred to computer share, and just have them in there, because I'm not necessarily planning on selling them anytime soon. I see that as the noose. Like we were handed the noose by Adam Aaron, and we can't let go of it. And these ape shares are it. Without an options chain, you get, that's the important thing. I'm sorry if you guys have heard this so many times, but with AMC, if someone was short and they needed to get a hold of shares, all that they have to do is buy an in-money call option, and that would force the market maker to give it to them. The only way for them to get the preferred shares is going to be buying it from someone that owns it. That's it. That's, it's much more of a clean market, the way that before I got heavily involved in the stock market, like the way I thought about the stock market in my head, like, yeah, buyers and sellers, and the only way that that's an auction system, and you find the person with the lowest offer and someone with the highest bid, and that's where it clears. And it's obviously a lot more complicated than that, but that's what the preferred share is going to be like, because if you want to buy an ape share, it's going to be from someone that has it at whatever price they set for it.
Yeah, I tell everybody right now, this is what I think in my mind, since we've been pushing computer share, re-pushing it back from May. As people have been DRSing their shares, which we've seen, I've got a bunch of DMs and Twitter posts and YouTube things saying, yeah, I DRSed all these shares, man. I've seen the price do nothing but go up consistently. So it is having some type of effect. But I would tell everybody this: the APE dividend will indeed expose synthetic shorts, but we don't know what's going to happen after that is confronted. So, there's been a couple statements being made that are completely wrong, saying that, Adam Aaron just DRS the entire float. That is completely untrue, and it's very misleading. Even though I like it, it's misleading, and it could cause people to back away from direct registering of AMC stock. I'll tell you this right now. If the AMC float was direct registered by retail on an individual basis, it would have twice the impact that this APE dividend is going to have. So I still think it's one of the more important things that can be done. Again, I wouldn't be transferring shares until after the 22nd to computer share at this point, but you can buy on computer share up until probably I would say like the 15th to get more AMC shares, to get more dividends, and then it's going to be in your computer share account direct registered. But after the dividends issued, I'm even more bullish on direct registration, because not only would we be putting the hedge funds up against the wall with the dividend and putting all that pressure on the shorts, possibly forcing them to close. If we can register the float, proving exactly how many synthetics are out there in a market within a time period, it will just absolutely destroy them. Like, it'd be like them going up against a firing wall with a tank. So,
keep going, brother.
What's that?
Keep going. I love it.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's the best tool we've had, and everybody that tried to FUD DRS and computer share for the last 3 months, they look like complete jackasses now, because literally the dividend is being facilitated by computer share. They are the transfer agent of AMC. So I love getting my little brown envelope computer share letters in the mail every time I get a stock purchase or some kind of news. So I highly encourage everybody to check it out. Buying shares from computer share is as easy as going through 6 screens. You click make a stock purchase, you type in the stock, you type in how much you want to buy, if you want to do it one time or recurring. Then you put all your account info in, you click your bank info, then you click purchase, and all of a sudden you're getting all these text messages and letters in the mail saying, yeah, we've got your purchase order, it'll be 5 days, so we set your account up. Next thing you know, you're getting another letter saying, please verify your account, and you can log in. And I'm working on a video right now about selling shares. I just got to figure out how to use the YouTube blur option a little better. But to sell shares, all you got to do is log in, click the actions button beside your share account, click sell shares, and you can go in and place a market order, a limit order, or a 30-day limit order. I think maybe 60, maybe 30. I don't remember. But I placed 5 shares at a limit order of $3,500 each today on AMC. And it took me like 30 seconds. So all the FUD and fear about it. And the bad thing is people keep re-asking the same questions over and over and over again. No matter how many times you tell them what's going on, it doesn't register with them. And it's because they're not going out and actually doing the research themselves. And they're not going out and starting a computer share account and trying it. Literally go to computer share and buy 5 shares of AMC or buy 4 shares of AMC and just try it and see how you like it. I guarantee you it's not going to be as scary as everybody makes it out to be.
So I know that Ortex is not the best tool. It's what we got kind of scenario. But interesting, today they had 3 million shares available to borrow, and availability has gone to 0. So IBKR is reporting no availability, going from 3 million to 0 today.
So, Swing, you think that BlackRock 50% reduction in AMC shares was probably the Russell rebalancing?
Yeah, that's what makes sense to me, having it move from, because you have to remember, I think at the timing last year, it was the largest or the second largest or something like that company in the Russell 1000. Like, it just or the Russell 2000, it just missed getting into the Russell 1000, where in fact it was so, like, they were GME and AMC had similar market caps, and GME made it into the Russell 1000 last year, and AMC was in the 2000. That could have even been by design, now that looking back at that, and how that happened. So now AMC is in the Russell 1000. And so when you look at that, like the Russell 1000 includes like Apple and Microsoft and huge, trillion-dollar companies. Tesla is in the Russell 1000 because it's the 1000 largest companies. And so its weighting within that is a lot lower than it was in the Russell 2000. So anyway, that change resulted in it moving from the one to the other. So that's my assumption as to why. But you also have to remember that's also based off of timing and quarterly rebalancing and things like that, and what is the market cap of the company at the given time. As that changes, as the market cap of AMC goes up, they're gonna, on quarterly rebalancing, have to buy more shares too. So, and that's the part, like now that you mention it, thinking through that logic, given that the market cap is made up of both AMC and APE, I do not know the answer to this. If that means that as the market cap changes, if they actually have to get their hands on both the preferred and the unpreferred, or if that just means they would have to, if they didn't want to do that, they would have to double up on the common in order to make the numbers work. You know what I mean? Like I don't know the rules to that specificity. I wonder who we could ask about that, because if that in itself could be a crazy catalyst for the valuation of the APE shares, because if not only if they have to be returned to these funds, but also as the market cap increases because of the squeeze, if they have to get their hands on those as well because of rebalancing and things like that. That's a very interesting, I guess, thought and into market mechanics that I don't know the answer to.
Just another little BBIG thing I just found. Apparently, there's a judge that's issued a temporary restraining order against some of the people on the board of directors for filing 2 false 8K forms with the SEC and misled the SEC. So the inner strife on the BBIG board with the CEO appears to be the problem of what's going on with the suspension. But having a restraining order against them from the company, that's a pretty big deal. It's interesting. What's up, guys? You got your hands up? What's up, Brandon?
I don't mind. I think I should give my hands up to is it Checkmate?
It's Checkmate Biatch. Thank you, though, Brandon. I don't mind, Brandon. If you want to go first, no problem.
Okay. Well, I think that we have a really good scenario here with the APE preferred stock scenario. I really think we're in good hands. It really doesn't give me much pause, or really, I'm not worried about much. And I hope you guys aren't too. It would be interesting to know about the derivative market, but obviously AMC is eligible for it. That has been an issue. Does anybody know anything about APE in the, option play or anything like that? Because I think it's special to kind of know that a little bit. Does anybody agree?
Did you ask if the ape is going to have an options play? Is that?
Well, the ape, I mean the ape ticker, will that have potentially a derivative or an option, market?
It could in the future, but there are requirements that a stock security has to have to even be traded with options, and some of that is price, shareholder base. So they got to meet a bunch of requirements before it's even able to be listed. But I honestly, we should be more vocal.
That's cool. That's
be more vocal and tell Adam Aaron, hey, we don't want this traded on the options chain. Like, be very specific about it. Be like, let's just keep it pure. Let's just keep it stock,
I think once everybody, it's the 19th, correct? I got this right? The 19th?
That'll be the last trading day as just AMC versus AMC and APE.
Well, I'm just talking about issuance. And I think we all have to be just very aggressive in the sense that if we don't get ours, in the next couple days, let's say after that, we have to be very aggressive with our brokerages and this and that and say, look, I didn't get mine. And, this is what, I mean, maybe I'm repeating what someone else said. I'm sorry, I kind of came in late, but, am I repeating something?
Oh, I mean, yes. I mean, ultimately, I completely agree that, if you don't get it, talk to investor relations at AMC, talk to your broker, talk to FINRA, talk to your state legislate. There's a state regulator in every state for securities. I would talk to them at the state level because they can pull, like, if they find tomfoolery with a broker, they can actually pull the license of that broker in that state, kind of like how Massachusetts took Robinhood to court and sued them and won that settlement, fairly large settlement. Each state has its own regulator, so if different states, and then obviously for our Canadian friends, go to their SEC equivalent, and the apes in other countries. That's one thing I see Sugar Kush raising his hand. I know that he's been working with some European apes, and we're trying to schedule market close, having a call with our friends across the pond that are AMC apes, and have us all get on a call tomorrow after market close. I'm open to it. I just haven't worked out my schedule for tomorrow at market close, making sure that I'm in a spot where I'm going to have constant internet and power for my phone, because we all know how important both of those things are in order to have a successful space call. So I want to make sure that I'm not having to be in the car and have a potential drop in signal or something like that. So I'm working on that. But if anybody else wants to be the main host of it, I'm happy to co-host or just be a speaker or a listener or whatever is needed for that. Because I think it'd be, Sugar Kush and I were up late last night and talking to our one of the European apes. It sounds like he might be one of the ringleaders of the Facebook or Telegram groups over there. So it was fun to hear him talk so passionately about AMC. I've talked to some of the foreign holders of GME before, but I haven't talked a lot to people in Europe that own AMC. They come in every once in a while, but it's great to do that to hear how much this movement is a worldwide phenomenon. And so look for a notification for anybody in this room tomorrow for sometime about market close for that. But anyway, from there, I would say, yes, get on your brokers, get on state regulators, but it also might be that you have something as a placeholder right away and you don't actually have it, or there's lots of different options that I see that might transpire. But I also don't think I don't think it's good to come up like for everyone to have the expectation of, it was a non-event because everybody I know ended up with it in their account. That's the way the market should work. That being said, in Germany, they're still working out the kinks of the GameStop scenario a month later. So it could take a long time too for us to work it all out. It'll be interesting.
Well, here's a tweet from @CryptoSlow99. I have contacted several European brokers. Each of them confirmed that we will get cash instead of the APE dividend. Is that legal at all? And she's tagging AMC and Bigham's and US James. So we're already seeing issues with people reporting their brokers are not going to give them the dividend. I would be recording all of that. I would record you if you're asking, record your phone calls, write it down, take screenshots, everything. Because when this does melt up, you're going to want every little scrap of evidence that you can get, because there will be class action lawsuits formed. I think with probably GME too, shareholders. I'm pretty sure we'll see class actions. I was wondering too, I mean, it's obviously a ways away, but Tara and Swing and everybody, I would love to host a call or co-host a call on, I think the dates of the 19th and the 22nd, I think would be a really good thing.
Hey, Spence, can I follow up on your computer share comments for just 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. A lot of misconception with this is people are saying, well, if you sell on computer share, you're not getting, if you do online, this is the way that it works. If you go online, you try and sell whatever security is that you're trying to sell. Let's say let's make it easy. Let's say you're at $100 and you're online. When you go to sell that, if its current market value is $100, you're not going to get that $100 price per share because there's a T+2 settlement on computer share. So if it goes up to $130, that's what you're getting. If it goes down to $80, that's what you're getting at that T+2. If you call them though, however, they will put you through to an account specialist, whoever I talk to, and I've asked these questions a million times over. Then at that point, they will run the sale for you and you will get whatever the share price is at that time. So you can just simply stay on the phone with them, tell them how many shares you want to sell, and that is the share price you will get if you talk to the specialist on the phone. If you do it online, that's when you're getting that T+2, whatever the price point is going to be at that time.
Exactly. I think there's an extra fee for doing it over the phone. Is that correct?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I did not ask that, and to tell you the truth, I'm sure you've spoken to them a couple of times. They don't offer a whole lot of information.
Yeah.
And they seem to be very short with their responses too. But I ask these things, 10 ways to Sunday, and every different way I could possibly think of, and she's very, clearly said yes. She said that's correct. It's a T+2 price.
Yep.
At that point, but if you do it over the phone, yes, then you'll get that price. She said, and we can do it right over the phone for you. So you'll know at that point, what you're getting per share. So again, I know it's a lot of the fear people have, like, well, I can't sell, during this point because I don't know what the price is going to be. Well, you just call them and do it.
Yeah, and just like how I bought with a recurring investment, if I would have bought straight from my broker a few days ago, I would have bought at like 25. Well, since I had my computer share allotment set up, I just got a bunch of shares at 21. So even if you think like, oh, I'm going to sell right now, I want to be able to sell the split second of, you never know what the market's going to do. So your probability ratio is actually better by having that T2 settlement, because if we run hard and you have a T2 settlement and it goes in the next day and your order fills and it fills at 150 instead of 100, you're making out like a champ. There's the risk to the downside, but again, like you said, and that's what they told me today too, if you call, you can get almost instant transaction time. You're just going to pay a little bit more of a fee. But with the prices we're working at, the benefit of having your shares direct registered, that fee is nothing compared to the losses you could incur from a shady broker like we did with Robinhood. So I'm telling people, man, if the AMC float gets direct registered by retail and we show 80 to 85% direct registration of shares, this whole thing will blow up bigger than anybody ever dreamed of. The outrageous prices people were talking about would be, in my opinion, more attainable through the direct registration process. So
Sugar or Toby, whoever was next.
Oh, Spence, thank you guys for having this call. And I sent you a DM too, and I was talking to Swing too. We had last night, but this morning, and we talked to one of my friends and from Germany, Tim, and he never spoke on the calls. First time I heard him, and the passion those guys have, it's unbelievable. Like, I mean, they are probably even more passionate and pissed off than we are. So to listen to him, and and then I talked to him. I said, you guys need to talk, sometimes people are shy,
Wait, who Sugar?
Huh?
What is it? I don't know what you're talking about. Who? I'm sorry, I was away from my phone for a second.
No, so last night, this morning I was driving home and I had a call, and Spence came and Swing came, and next thing there was 50, 60 people, and some of them were from Germany. Like one of the friends, remember you commented on Tim, he on something,
I
the
love
checkmate.
Tim.
Yeah,
Really?
checkmate.
Yeah.
So
really quick, I don't want to cut you off, but I just want to tell people that I just saw that apparently Gasparino retweeted me earlier about when I said Scoop, Charles Gasparino would rather go after a CEO for doing his job than the SEC who refuses to do theirs. He retweeted it and said Scoop is predicting an AMC MOAS to 1,000, which I think is hilarious. And then I just pinned my response to him up at the top. But I said I predict movie theaters will be around another 100 years, thanks to retail and CEO Adam. And I said, your grandkids will thank us. I don't even know if Gasparino has kids, honestly. I don't know anything about the dude. But I just think I am just so, I know I am just so sick and tired of the media, doing what they do. And these talking heads, between him and Jim Cramer just being so wrong about everything, but then wanting to I don't know. It's like they're constantly going after us and they're never going after people who are actually a problem. I mean, how can you just stand by and be okay with the way the SEC does business? They literally don't do anything. They don't do anything. And then they go after people, for nothing. I don't know. It's just wild to me. But I just had to share that. I didn't see that he had responded or had retweeted that. Anyway, Sugar, go ahead. Go ahead about so it was some Germany folks, or just all over different.
All over Europe. I mean, they have a very big group. Like I was amazed when he was telling me how many people they have on Telegram and all that. So he's, I was talking to him. I said, why don't you guys come and have a call, just for those people and hear them out, and how much passion and how much anger they have in them. He was very passionate, but he was very pissed too. What's going on? So, I if you guys will be kind enough to have some time after tomorrow after 4 o'clock. Swing said he'll try his best. He's doing his best. So, if you guys get time, it'll be great to hear those folks out and just
Absolutely. Yeah, when I used to do late night calls, they would come so I believe is Germany 10 hours ahead of, I think, here on the West Coast?
7 hours.
Yeah, 7 hours ahead for the East Coast, right?
Yes.
So, that's why I think they tend to come to the, late night, early morning spaces, because that's when it's, their time, the right time of day for them. But so right now it's the middle of I guess it's evening. No, yeah, pretty late at night. So maybe that's, why they don't always frequent. But I mean, we've had some, even a couple days ago. So, it's just kind of hit and miss, But yeah, I would love to be a part of, that space and get a chance to thank them, because they too ran, banners and mobile billboards on trucks and stuff like that. And I know we always applaud Kat for what she's done. They put that together on their own. I'm not really sure who pitched in and donated, or helped pay for that. And it would be nice if they kind of got a little bit of credit for doing what they've done over in Germany. And I've seen the pictures coming out of there. So yeah, if we could find out who put that on and put that together, it would be really cool to have them on a space and just thank them in person.
Yeah, thank you guys. Whatever you guys can do, be great. And thank you for doing all you guys do. I'm gonna step down.
Thank you, Sugar, and thank you for always being a pillar. Honestly, like whenever it's a rough day and there's a lot of negative vibes, which it hasn't been lately because we're up and we're kicking butt, but you would post your pictures of like sunset or sunrise and a positive comment, and it's just very uplifting to have someone around who just does that. And no one's telling you to, no one's asking you to. And when I'm scrolling feed or I get an alert and it's something very positive versus something really negative, it just makes me want to stay and keep grinding and keep being a part of this. And it's really helpful to counteract some of the other things that take place on here, unfortunately. But it's always a pleasure talking to you, and I just feel very grateful that we've all had this opportunity to meet each other. We haven't met in person, but maybe one day, we'll still, post MOAS have our big Vegas celebration and everyone get together and get to actually hug each other and celebrate in real life together.
Yeah.
Thank you. That'll be one of the best days of my life when I will be able to meet, all you guys and, have good time. And I will cook some chicken curry and goat curry, and I'll cook for food also for you guys. So, I love all you guys do, and thank you for, letting me always be a part of this group. And I'm just lucky to be a part of this community. I have learned a lot from you guys and grown a lot with you guys. And some people, those who I came for making money, but I made friends, those who became more like family. So I can never thank you guys enough for that. Thank you so much.
Bro, I just started fasting today, and then you're talking about like goat and chicken curry, man. I'm like drooling now. I'm so hungry right now, but I need to lose weight. This space call stuff is hitting my midriff in a ridiculous way. So,
Spencer, it's okay.
Yeah,
even fat people look
that.
good on a yacht.
Oh my gosh, who said that?
That was me.
I didn't hear it. What'd you say?
I said it's okay. Even fat people look good on a yacht.
Yeah, I'll be tan, bro. Tan fat looks better than pale fat, and it don't matter if you have a boat. So
yeah, it don't matter. Hey, real quick on the APE dividend, I was pretty sure that Adam had even touched on that. Even like outside the U.S., they would get the dividend. I correct me if I'm wrong. I thought he made a point to say that I know that the little freebies don't, but I thought that was what he was saying, that they were making sure that even outside the U.S. could receive the dividend.
I'm from Canada, and I confirmed that I get the dividend with my TD. So we get it in Canada, just not on like the Robinhoods and stuff. I don't know about that, but the regular brokers.
If you guys could do me a favor, if you're, whether you're speaking or listening, if you guys haven't done so, if you go down to the bottom right corner, you can comment on the space down there, but you can also retweet the space so that everyone sees that we're in here. I know it's been, a long couple days and a lot of like hashing out the dividend stuff. So I think it's just helpful when people know that we're here. They can come ask questions or just, converse about concerns or comments and just have an open discussion. So if you guys like what you're hearing, if you can, please tweet out the space. You can also hit the share icon and copy and paste it and make your own tweet. And also make sure you're following people who come up here and speak and hosts, co-hosts, and co-hosts. But I think it's important that we kind of keep this, community strong, and people who are coming up and sharing their voices and putting themselves, out there. Make sure that you do that. If you don't like what you see after you follow them, you can always, hit the unfollow button. But I think it's just a nice way to kind of stay in touch and be able to communicate with each other. Also, I try to follow as many people back. If I haven't followed you back, let me know, shoot me a DM or comment somewhere, and I'll get to you, I promise. I also get limited by Twitter, so I have to be sort of careful. But yeah. Anyway, we could keep talking about the dividend now. I just wanted to make sure that people see us in here.
Could I ask a quick question on the dividend? But the game dividend, has anybody heard anything as to the DTC or anybody doing anything about the actual dividend and not the split? Like, it just seems like they're ignoring it. And I haven't heard anything. I complained to my broker, but nobody.
What was the question?
Oh, sorry. Just about the GameStop dividend, like the kerfuffle between the brokers splitting it and not actually getting the dividend. I just don't know if anybody's heard it. It just seems like everybody's ignoring it, kind of, or hoping it goes away.
I would be shocked if we'll ever hear the DTCC admit wrong fraud.
But they would have to fix it, or would the market and everything really let that go through like that? Like, that's what it feels like it's going to be. Like, they're going to allow this split, but essentially they just created a whole bunch of shares that shouldn't be there.
Well, I think it would eventually be up to Ryan Cohen and GameStop board.
Okay, so you just kind of wait on him, eh?
I mean, if they have concrete proof that something went wrong, then I would think that there will be some sort of action on GameStop's part. Like, what it, as a you want tinfoil hat. Like, okay, they released the dividend. What if they said, okay, you guys messed that up, we're going to reverse split those 4-1 to undo what you did, and we're going to do it over again. But the time you got to do it right.
Well, that's kind of what I was hoping they were doing. Like, what I'm surprised about is that the stock's even trading. Like, you literally have 3 extra shares that they created that shouldn't be there. Like, GameStop did. Like, that's a lot of shares. And I'm surprised they're just allowing the ticker to trade like that, knowing that that's like happening and everybody's aware of it. Because I'll tell you, the dividend I got for BBIG, by the time I got it, it wasn't even worth anything. Like, it's just hilarious how they run these things.
Bob, were you in here earlier when I was talking about a judge ordered restraining orders on some of the board members of BBIG?
No. Could you repeat it? Sorry, guys, if it's repeat twice, but
I'll try to repost it. But it looks like a court has issued restraining orders against a few of the board members that were causing problems, filing like the improper 8Ks and the wrong company statements, kind of going after the CEO. So like that's probably
Gucci guy or whatever, like Kuzuchi. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he seems to be causing a lot of trouble. So I think the head guy, the CEO, is telling everybody to stay calm on Twitter because there was a lot of FUD about it getting delisted, which I don't think is going to happen. So I think Friday, the suspensions usually last 10 days, so it may be up Friday or Monday.
Okay, I'm not too worried. It was just the way they did their split dividend. I feel like something sketchy, and I didn't get it for 2 weeks, so they put it in, that temporary status, and you get it. But what pisses me off about my broker with GameStop, they put a split. When I complained, they just switched the coding to dividend, but never got the shares, and I just thought that was funny. Like, why is my, BBIG dividend in a temp file? I couldn't trade it. It goes from like $7 to $1, but my broker can apparently switch and produce shares at will, and I'm waiting and just losing money. It's just weird.
That's why they want you to sell your APE dividend as soon as possible, because as soon as you release those APE preferred shares out into the market, then brokers and short sellers can start facilitating their short positions.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's what happened with BBIG. I think they started using it, and a lot of people didn't have their shares. So this time I'm really following up to make sure I get that, like the date and then latest date or whatever, and get that in writing from my broker. Like, I don't want it 22nd. I end up getting on the 28th, but because I also feel like, is it possible that they could use the shares? So let's say people get dividend shares, but they didn't transfer it. Is it a possibility that they're using those shares against us? Does anybody know? I'm not that really savvy in this kind of stuff. Like, is it possible if they delayed giving people the dividend? I guess what I'm asking. Let's say they delayed for 2 weeks. Do they have the ability to give the shares to the shorts or whatever? And the shorts use it while I'm waiting for to get that actual share. Is that possible?
I don't think so. I think Adam Aaron, his wording and everything that they wrote, as the company said, this is going to, and it's going to identify our current shareholder base. So as soon as a retail investor says, hey, I did not get my APE dividend, there's going to be a big problem.
Oh, I feel way safer with the AMC dividend than BBIG and GameStop. Like, I feel the way he did it, I feel very confident. Like, I feel way better getting that. I won't lose sleep over the APE dividend. That's for sure. I think he did a great job on that. And did you guys talk about there's a lot of people I respect in the community that kind of giving Aaron a hard time and saying dilution and stuff. And so a lot of the guys, like I think they do a kind of great job. What do you guys think about people saying that? Like, because I think I've read Terror stuff. Like, you guys are obviously aligned with what Adam Aaron did, right? Nobody's got it.
Yeah, I think that people have used dilution as a talking point many times and try to sort of frame it as this negative thing. And the reality is, every single time that there's been dilution, the stock has gone up by 10-fold or more. So, I mean, the fact that they still try to use that to kind of scare people. And if you notice, so right when the announcement came out after earnings, we had a pretty good dip, right? And so that FUD on top of that dip helps benefit them. So before earnings, Swing was pointing out that they were letting the IV, you said something like they were letting the IV go crazy, right? Swing. And then you even predicted that they would do it in order to bring the stock down as much as possible right during and post earnings. And that is exactly what happened. Like, I mean, he called it to the T. And then the next day, you hear all this FUD. I call it FUD because they're literally using it to scare people out of the play, get people to sell. Our girl PJ in here, good friend of hers has been holding the stock for over a year with us and literally heard what they were saying about how horrible this was, that Adam was doing this, and convinced him to sell. Like, he was actually convinced. And then what happens? We freaking run. Like, it makes me absolutely sick that they do this to retail investors. And, it gets in people's heads. And now if you even want to get back in to get your APE dividend, you have to buy that much higher. So you've just cut out that many shares that you had previously because you're selling at a low and then buying at a high. And that is exactly what they're banking on you doing. And that is exactly when you look up some of the tweets I'm on Twitter and I'm thinking tweets, but the quotes from Warren Buffett when he talks about how the stock market is literally designed to take money from impatient people and put it in the pockets of patient people. And then yet they tell us, why are you holding this stock? You could be holding anything. Okay. First of all, day trading is not the only thing that you can do on the stock market. And second of all, when did it become bad to hold something for long term? If you believe in the company and you believe in the fundamentals long term, what does it hurt? And then to top it off, there's a potential for a massive squeeze because we know we have all of these FTDs and we're in these heavily shorted plays. I mean, let's be real. They want us out of this thing for obvious reasons, to the point that even the SEC is putting out negative videos, telling retail not to buy these plays. I mean, that is not the SEC's job. It is not the SEC's job to pick which stocks retail should be investing in and shouldn't be investing in. Yet they don't do their damn job when it comes to dark pools. And we know there are times where over 90% of AMC trades in dark pools. Why aren't other tickers? Why isn't it the same across the board? Why AMC specifically? You know what I mean? So for me, the more the media tells us not to do something, and especially, certain characters that are used as sort of these puppets in the media, the more I'm going to do it because I'm just that kind of naughty girl, I guess. But it really pisses me off. Like, it really pisses me off when Jim Cramer all day today has just gone, crazy about BBBY and left so much money on the table for anyone who potentially listened to that. And, we just saw Bed Bath & Beyond completely run. Like, there was this huge run. So, it's wild. It's wild out there.
I definitely I think people give Adam Aaron a hard time, but I'm all right with dilution. Like, he's got to be going through stress and hell too. Like, he's probably got to watch his back. Like, he's dealing with like multi-billionaires, and people are like, don't want to give him anything, or AMC. Like, it's this greed that got these guys into it. We don't have to be greedy ourselves. If Adam wants to pay off some debt and what have you, I'm sure he doesn't live a stress-free life with what he's going through, and I think he's fighting for us, and that's my opinion. And
I
think he's
absolutely agree,
fighting
Bob.
a dangerous fight. Like, he's probably got worried about his kids, his family.
He said he was getting threats. He told us in the Q1 earnings that people were threatening him, and he said it's probably shorts.
Oh, absolutely. And so when people say, Adam this or Adam shouldn't dilute, we're not walking around like our life's in jeopardy. Maybe it's not for him, but he's got to think of it. And I think it's just pathetic that people treat him, say all this stuff about him when he's probably battled just as much as anybody else and probably lives through a lot more stress than we do.
Something that Swing pointed out that a lot of people, I actually never really even heard anyone talk about until Swing brought it up, was that a lot of these people are, I think he said, short the debt for AMC. So it's really bad for them if Adam is going to pay off said debt. Is that how you described it, Swing?
No, not exactly. I mean, so
if you could give us the breakdown on, because it made so much sense to me when I thought about these crazy short accounts like Wall Street Cynic, who are going, absolutely nuts on Adam about dilution. And then it all dawns on you when you realize there's debt at play here that these guys, go ahead, Swing, you take the floor. You explain it so much better.
Yeah. So what I said is, in the history of the stock and the wild swings we've seen players who were long the debt, meaning that they own the debt of AMC, that own the corporate bonds, and they short the stock. And they short the stock to hedge their debt, because the debt doesn't necessarily trade at par, meaning like if the debt is sorry, I got my kid here. I think I need to give him some attention. So go to hands, and then I'll come back as soon as I get him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Satisfied.
Swing, do dad mode, and totally understandable. But yeah, when he broke it down the other day in one of these spaces about the debt, it really hit me, because I'm thinking to myself, that's why these guys are so pissed. They do not want Adam to, be able to dilute, to be able to pay off the debt. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were behind some of the negativity in the past when Adam was trying to dilute in order to do that. And, some of us jumped on that bandwagon. There are nefarious people here. They do have, intentions that are against what we're doing. And we do have to be careful about what narrative we sort of run with. And, I'm one of the people that gave Adam a hard time, but I would never resort to, bashing or name calling or, spreading FUD. But I did give him a hard time in regard to a dividend and wanting retail to reap some sort of benefit for the efforts that we have all put in. And I knew it would, I knew that it would potentially not only keep people in the play, but also entice, more people to get involved or get back involved if they did leave, which I don't think many have. So we've seen that sort of play out. And I appreciate Adam, because when we, put something out there and we, keep saying it, he hears us and he pays attention and he listens to what we want, and he has said so many times, this is your company. You know what I mean? Like, you guys own the company. You own 90% of the float. I'm working for you. And so I don't regret, the conversations and pushing things to the forefront for him to get his eyes on, because I've explained this, many times, that if we're just sitting back, as the stock's, tumbling from 40 down to 10, and we're just hunky-dory and not really saying anything and going, yeah, okay, it's cool, and we're just cool with it, although, so the whole market suffered during that time as well. So it wasn't just an AMC situation, but I do feel there is a need for people to stand up and say it. And so many of you expressed to me, this is a way that we can get a share count. A dividend would be a way to get a share count so we can get to the bottom of the naked shorting and synthetics. And that was something that we discussed round and round in here. Mark came with his idea, which didn't end up happening. But this is, pretty damn close. And I can't say for certain which is better or which is not. I am just happy that we have a CEO working for us who cares about what we are putting out there and what we have to say and what we're pushing forward for the company and to better the company.
Well, this explains why Adam Aaron started making all the "they're going to eat crow" posts. We all know that was, Mark's line. In a way, he was telling us, hey, a dividend is coming. He was kind of warning us for months. So I think it's great that he did it. And, it proves that he listens to the community. This dividend that can't be duplicated idea was brilliant, and it's going to make some serious waves.
Yep. I 100% agree with you. Like, when I heard this dividend, to be honest, I was giving him a hard time too. It's just, but he's about one of the only ones in this whole thing, not including you guys, that's actually trying to help us. Like, there's not many people out there that have authority or power that are doing shit for us, and he's one of the ones that is. But when he did that dividend, I was getting hard on him, obviously, because I'm losing money. And I know you don't lose to yourself, but I consider it losing. But when he did that dividend, I was really proud of the whole thing with him.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I got my.
I can't see who's talking, but Swing, if you have a quiet moment, I want to go to Swing real quick because he doesn't get a lot of them, and then we'll go to that really quick. Just keep that thought.
Yeah.
Don't lose that thought.
So what I was saying about long the debt, short the stock. So Silver Lake owned a bunch of the debt, the bailout debt that they gave AMC initially. And in order to hedge that, because it doesn't trade at par, meaning that, if you loan it at a 10% yield, let's say, it may not trade at that 10%. Like if they wanted to sell it to somebody else, it might trade at a 20% yield, meaning that the bond is worth 50 cents on the dollar compared to what they bought it for. And so they hedge it by shorting the stock, and they can do that either directly or they can do it through selling naked options. So they sell, I believe they sold a bunch of the 14 or the 15, I can't remember now, options that AMC had, and they were naked. They didn't have the shares. And so when the price started running up, because those were convertible debts, and those are even more dangerous than that. I'm pretty sure none of the existing debt now is convertible notes. And so on convertible notes, you loan it at this price, you loan the debt at a certain price, but if you want to, you can convert the debt into shares at a certain strike price. And so that's the reason why that's so dangerous for a company, is that it basically puts a cap on what the price can run to in a certain extent. And so that's why these companies loan the money that way, is because that allows them to short it below it, because they know that they have an option to buy stock at a certain price if the stock does start to run. So they're able to basically work it both ways. It's kind of the death spiral finance type of scenario that we've talked about. So, to be fair, AMC was in a tough place. They weren't able to make any revenue. You think about, they have this, 100-year-old company, but all of a sudden they have to shut their doors, not make any money for, 6 months, a year. If I was a lender in that scenario, I could see why it was going to be kind of a tough scenario. Well, the apes came in, bought the stock, bought options, started running it, and so Silver Lake had to get out of the stock. And so when they converted that debt, they dumped. You can actually look on the candles of this 1 minute candle of them dumping millions of shares on the market in 1 minute. They just liquidated all of those shares, and they did that to lower the price, to get it down underneath the strike price of where they had those options, so they can get out from underneath and never having to deliver on all the options that they sold naked. Similarly, the same thing happened with Mudrick in far as the June run. They sold a bunch of the $40 call options naked, and when the price started running, that's when things got crazy, and they had to go and convert the debt into stock so that they could get out from underneath it. And they even did the bashing. They went on TV and bashed AMC, on that exit even. So because they wanted the price to go down so that they could get out from underneath those naked options. So going to today, it's chances are the same thing is happening today. So the people that own the stock are probably partially responsible for those that are shorting it.
Could it have been possible when they raised all that money, when they, sold shares to the market, could it have been possible that a lot of that money was shorts covering and not actually retail, all of it? Is that possible? Because I feel like that's where he kind of got this thing to raise money the second time, because he's going to be kind of part of the squeeze now that he's got the shares. But is it possible when they raised all that money that some of it was shorts covering? Anybody?
Did you change his diaper recently?
I mean, I can't remember far as
like that 1.8 billion or whatever. Like we always say like retail saved it and stuff, but is there any possibility that a lot of that money could have been shorts covering, like shorts buying the stock off AMC?
I mean, that's what Mudrick was.
Okay.
Mudrick basically converted debt for stock, and then they sold it. Like AMC sold them. I forget what the strike, what they sold it for. I want to say it was like $36 or something like that. They sold them the stock for, maybe it was 27, something like that. So they sold them that stock, and then Mudrick turned around and sold it on the open market. And if they would have just held on to that stock for 48 hours, they could have sold it for 72. So,
Yeah. I have had a lot of fun with this with you guys. So any money I lose, I consider the education well worth it.
And then if you end up getting paid to get educated, I mean, that's a win-win, in my opinion. This whole adventure has been crazy. I want to go to, is it pronounced Gus? Or do you?
Yeah. You can call me Gus.
Cool.
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wanted to add to what Spencer said about whoever doesn't get the APE share. And he was saying about making sure you contact AMC relations, your broker. We need to specifically do the work. We need to be very vocal on it. We can't sit on it for too long. So whoever doesn't get their APE count, you guys need to do the work and be vocal about it. Call your broker, call AMC relations, and let them know, hey, I did not receive anything. And be aggressive when they give you false information when it comes to your broker. If they say it was anything but an APE count, you have to be vocal and you have to let them know that's false information and be aggressive with it. Because that's the only way we're gonna get
guys.
it.
File a complaint, because they have that on record, and they'll dance around. You can see it. If you go call your broker and say, I want to file a complaint, they'll do anything not to do it. So file a complaint and get them going, because that gets audited, that's put on their record. So that's how if they're giving you bullshit, just say, I want to file a complaint.
Well, the best way to do that, literally just go to FINRA and file a complaint against your broker. Like they have it. You go to FINRA, type FINRA, file a complaint against broker. It'll pop right up. You'll have a one button click. It takes you right into being able to file an investor complaint.
I don't know if Canada's a bit different, because I called our regulatory body and they basically said I had to follow up. This was on the GameStop dividend. I had to follow up with my broker and do a complaint there with the process. So I don't know if that's different. But I did get way better reception when I said I want to file a complaint. All of a sudden, I went up to the top, and all of a sudden, I was right, and they apologized. Like, the story just changed. But I whatever way, just file the complaint, because then you got it on paper. Like it's not hearsay or bullshit. I think that's the best route if they're not doing what they're supposed to.
Because
Absolutely.
how many posts have you seen on Reddit where it was just false information what they told the buyer, and nothing happens, you know? So I just wanted to put it out there. Thanks for giving me the time, Tara. And thanks for
Thank
finally
you.
following me. I was waiting for your follow for forever.
I'm so sorry. You know, the best way to get me to follow you, honestly, is to come up here because I can hear your voice. I know you're legit. I know you're a real person behind your profile. And I try to keep up with people who come up here and make sure that I click on their face. And if I'm not following them, I follow them just because it means so much. It means so much that you guys take the time out of your day to come and, you know, share information, be involved in the discussion. And, you know, but for the people who don't come up and speak, believe me, I understand if you're at work, if you're busy, if you've got your family, you're shy, and you know, this isn't for everyone. Not everyone wants to be up on the stage, and that's understandable too. So a few people did DM me and say, I'm still waiting for a follow back. So I got you guys as well. And it's just kind of my way of saying, like, hey, you like what I have to say, and I want to see what you have to say as well. And yeah, I try to keep up with it. But thank you, Gus, for bringing that, because honestly, it's important that we do follow through and not just let the ball drop once this all happens. You know, we need to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. That's the whole point of this, is to get to the bottom of, you know, synthetics or naked shorting. And how can we do that if people aren't following through and saying, I didn't get my dividend? But I guarantee most will, because when it all goes down, I'm pretty sure, you know, everyone's going to be scrambling to make sure, especially the brokers, that people get what they're entitled to. Really quick, I wanted to say I pinned to the top. Guy had I don't know if he's up here as a speaker because sometimes this is broken, but he responded when we were talking about the dilution stuff, and he wrote on the chat on the call. He said, narrative rebrand. When they say dilution, I say, did you mean debt reduction? Did you mean increased profitability? In my view, that's the necessary narrative rebrand around dilution. And I could not agree more. I retweeted that and pinned it up at the top. But that's exactly it. Like, every time they scream dilution, I hear, wait, debt reduction? Wait, you're opening the door to be able to make AMC even more profitable and to be able to further pursue other avenues for increased revenue in the future? This is extremely bullish, in my opinion. Now, I'm not allowed to tell everyone else what to think, but that's the way I see it. So I think the whole fear tactic of dilution should just pretty much be out the window at this point, and consider the source. If it's a bunch of shorts screaming dilution, they're scared. They are scared of dilution, and there is a reason for that. And I think Swing explains it, you know, very thoroughly and very well. So I appreciated that, Swing. These calls are everything, honestly, for me. Like, I don't know, you know, if other people get as much out of them as I do, but I absolutely love the way minds come together here and are able to just really put the information together. And it's almost like I'm so addicted to AMC. This is like a support group, and you guys really help me get through my days. Thank you.
No, this
AMC
is these are
Anonymous.
the best think tanks. These are the think tanks that companies run. We're the think tanks of AMC.
Absolutely. Shareholder meeting.
Sorry, I want to add to that dilution. Dilution's only a problem when it reduces the value of your stock. So if you're diluting, for, like you said, for value or to pay off debt, that's increasing the value of your stock. Dilution's the problem when you're getting your value reduced. But if it's neutral or increase, I don't consider that a true kind of dilution of value, I guess you could say.
And it's even, you know, restricted by a vote. If these shares are converted, it's going to be based on a vote. So that's even, you know, another reason why people are freaking out for no reason and overcomplicating the dividend. But I will say, Tara, that post by Guy, that is a perfect post. That's one of my favorite posts I've seen on Twitter thus far.
Me too. I was like, dude, that just sums it up so beautifully. Like, I want it to be a meme. Like, can someone turn that into a meme where they're literally like screaming dilution and all we hear, you know what I mean? Like, we process the information that they're trying to use to deter us so much differently, and they absolutely hate it. Like, anything they try to FUD us with, we spin it around and go, oh, so you mean, you know, X, Y, Z, and they hate it. They're the smart money. They're supposed to dictate to us what it means, not the other way around. We're not supposed to be able to read between the lines and figure this stuff out. So hats off to you, Guy. That was very, very well put. And yeah, Spence, I totally agree.
I'll make a Wojak meme out of it.
Do it. The memes are back. Like, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to do something where everyone just goes crazy and like starts tweeting and retweeting memes just all day, like nothing but memes, just to send a message and say memes are back. Like, you can love it or hate it, whatever. Just if you're shorting it, I feel bad. It feels bad. I feel bad for you. And I just think it's funny because, you know, I shared an article that was put up yesterday saying beware of meme stocks. Here, I'll read it. The title says, beware of the latest surge in meme stocks, strategist warns. And that's Brian Sawzy. I said, beware of gains. They can be so scary. And then Jim Cramer today, or wait, was this yesterday, don't bet against retail. Or I changed it to don't bet against retail, but he said, don't bet against short sellers in this market. Jim Cramer warns. And it's like, they're really warning us because they really want to help us. Can't you tell? They really want to help you from, save you from those, 10% swings like we saw today.
Does Tara sound really quiet all of a sudden?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Did you hear?
Yeah,
did you hear Jim Cramer change his tune? With that clip, he was like, "Yeah, actually, AMC is improving." He goes, "That's one that I would watch," and I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, see, the last time you said buy AMC, we went from like 32 down to. So Jim Cramer should
that was
stop.
leading into an earnings call, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it looks like AMC is about to squeeze the shorts again," and then it got dumb.
Do you guys really think he does it on purpose? Like, I just feel like he's an idiot. It just happens. Like, I don't know.
That dude still has enough connections in the hedge funds that absolutely.
Yeah, I bet it's
that
on
dude
purpose.
Has plenty of connections. Those connections don't just fade away when you leave, especially of that platform. They go, "Hey Jim, remember me? Oh yeah. Hey, can you dump this?"
I wouldn't want to be friends with Jim. I don't care what he could do for me. I just couldn't see many people want to hang out with him. He's fucking annoying. He'd be the worst guy to hang out with for a day.
Hey, Tara. I feel like that.
Can you hear me?
I feel like that. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I disconnected Bluetooth, and for whatever reason, my phone is acting crazy. Go for it.
I feel like that comment that Gasparina made to you about the $1,000, it's just out of nowhere. And I feel like he's just panicking and trying to like say, oh, that's really out of bounds. I think like we could get to 1,000. I'm like, dude, that's the floor. So I was just laughing the desperation. But
If you look,
sorry?
if you look at all Charles's Charles Gasparino's tweets for 2 days, it's almost like a psychology thing. He's constantly putting $70 in the 1,000, like it's on every one of his tweets. It's almost like he's trying to prep people in the mind to sell at 70 because it might go down again. Like it's just, if you look at all his tweets the last 2 days, it's like the number 70 and 1,000 on every one of his tweets. I think it's a psychology shit.
Well, it ain't working. But the other thing, I have a question. This is very APE, but when you say that the apes gave a lot of revenue to like AMC, so we buy all these shares and the share price goes up. How does that reflect to the company that they own money? Because I understand they own shares, but until they sell them, or is that the thing with what they do with the swaps or something with the debt, and they can pay things off? Can you explain that, Tara?
You can get loans off shares.
That's how a lot of CEOs purchase properties. Like Musk has done it. Since he has such a large stake, he can basically take a loan out against his equity in Tesla.
Well, it's the same thing as the hedge funds and the Somni accounts that they short down. They never take that out. They never pay the tax.
So,
All right.
but when he's paying down our debt, like, is he cashing in stock to do that, or?
Oh yeah, he dilutes stock to pay down the debt. That's the ape stuff. That's the extra stock he has. But I think it's great. Wouldn't it be amazing if AMC had no debt and we got squeezed? Like, it's the perfect ending.
The deal is, though, if you're paying off debt, then you're effectively curing the dilution factor of the price, because the better the company is financially, the better the stock price is going to be. And actually, in that conversation, Tara, your meme is now posted up in the nest. It's ready to go. And keep in mind, AMC's only got
the meme, Spence. I saw the meme. I was gonna add a frame to it so it fits in the screen without having to tap on it, but that is perfect.
That'd be cool if you did. Be pretty cool.
Really
if
quick,
you did.
is Dade in here? Do you guys see Dade Murphy in here? I need to give that guy a huge shout out. He is circulating the video from Gasparino when he broke down the AMC dividend back when Mark, came on and talked about it, and Gasparino was all about it. And maybe I can play the clip in here. But thank you, Dade, for bringing that back out and back around. It's just too perfect when he talks about squeezing the shorts, the same shorts he claims don't exist now, but apparently existed, then. He also has something pinned. I retweeted it, and I'm going to put it at the top of the space, but it says, maybe CEO Adam can play this for Gasparino when Fox Business has to report AMC theaters beat earnings and wants to sit down with the CEO of AMC. And he made this back last month, but it is absolutely insane. He took every one of Gasparino's tweets about AMC and put it into like this slideshow format. And it's wild when you see how much Gasparino has just stock bashed AMC. And he doesn't talk about anything else. It's insane. So thank you, Dade.
Tweets? Bro deleted a lot of his tweets after I filed an SEC complaint back like 6 months ago. That's for sure.
Well, Dade has them. Really quick, guys. 1 second. I'm going to play this clip of Gasparino. This was when we talked about the dividend with Mark in the fall of last year. And Gasparino went on Fox Business to say this.
If you have this dividend, right, and you've lent out the shares, right, the people that you've lent out the shares to hold shares that are essentially owned by somebody else. The broker lends the shares out, in terms of a short sell. The ultimate owners, the holders, are going to want the broker to get those shares back so they can basically get the dividend, right? That will create the situation where people will go out. Eliminate shorts. Well, you'll start buying this like crazy. Now, if there's these synthetic shorts, which is these sort of wickedly open positions where there's no borrow where the borrow doesn't have to be matched or doesn't have to be completed, you will see that. So it's a fascinating plan. And by the way, this whole issue of whether there's naked shorting on AMC, whether it's controlled by dark pools, I'm dubious. Overstock did something like this, which squeezed the shorts. Yes. Remember that? Yeah. Stock started trading up higher. This could be the same thing where you get a short squeeze coming out of this, which could be very painful if anybody's really short.
Oh, it could be very painful.
How long ago was that? Was that years ago?
No, so when Mark came onto my spaces with the initial idea of the STO dividend, which was a little bit different but similar, Gasparino ran with it. First, to be honest, he ran with a complete pack of lies and said that we were on a space and that Mark had met up with CEO Adam and was sort of trying to do a market manipulation type narrative. And Mark was pissed. Mark Codis went and got his lawyer involved and went to Gasparino and said, first of all, you need to retract what you said and you need to take it back. And, or I'm you're going to pay for it. Like, I'm coming after you because it was false. So anyway, I have never seen Gasparino come back and tuck his tail so hard before, and he did. So the very next day, that was a clip of him with his 5 o'clock shadow, looking a little meek and a little stressed out and a little cowardly, maybe a lot. And yeah, he made that statement the following day. So it's pretty wild when you look back and you put it with the timeline now versus what he's saying now about essentially the same sort of thing. But I mean, it is different. So, you know, he has his opinions of it or whatever, but at the same time, it's too perfect. So thank you, Dade Murphy, for sharing that. I appreciate it.
When that
Pinned it to
happened,
the
you
top.
know Gasparino had lawyers sitting there going, "You better start talking, bud. You better start straightening this up."
When the person on the phone that released the complaint, what was the follow up on it, or what was the conclusion? Somebody said that they filed a complaint.
Yeah. I haven't actually got any conclusion or any further response back yet, but within a month after I filed that, suddenly Gasparino was deleting. He went in on like a Twitter delete storm and took down, like, my God, I would say it was close to almost every AMC tweet that he had put up. Because he got to the point where he was bashing the stock so bad that it was obvious. I mean, we're obviously blowing him apart, saying, dude, you have such a huge conflict of interest with your wife owning Cobblecord, which is like a streaming platform accumulation type thing, data sales type thing, but also that he works for Fox Business and they had ties to Citadel. It's just such a bad look, and it needs to stop. It's all part of the short and distort crowd, which is a really big thing that people have been fighting against lately. So.
But Charles is an idiot. Anybody that wants to shoot off the mouth and have that much liability is just a fucking moron. Like, there's no value in it for him. And if he is working for the hedge funds,
well,
they're going to fuck him in the end. Like, it's going to be funny. But how stupid to put that much liability? Like, just shut your mouth.
When I tweeted out that I had filed an SEC complaint, I noticed he deleted his tweets, and I tweeted I filed an SEC complaint against a stock basher who's been going after AMC way too hard lately. He actually retweeted me and started talking shit about it. So I know just through that series of little events and him retweeting me and being all pissy that he probably got a phone call. So
at the end, it'll fall for him too. Like, the whole thing he's done without it, once this is done, like, he's really got nothing. There's nothing left for him. Like, he's going to get his payback for sure.
Hands, baby, hands. Who's up? Womack or Toby? Or what's up, Womack?
Yo, what's up, Spencer? How's it going, guys? What's up, Tara? I see a lot of good heads in here. What's up, Swing? What's up? What's up, Cat? Cat's up in here. But yeah,
Hey.
What's up, dude? These space scholars are getting so good. I have to take notes. I'm taking notes on stuff, and then I'm like, wait a second, I gotta come back to this talking point. So
I need to start remembering to clip certain topics. Like, I wish I would have clipped where Swing was describing the debt and how that works with the shorts and stuff. Dang it, I'm so mad that I didn't.
Dude, I got like 3 windows. I mean, a few windows. I got a lot of windows open for other stuff, but I got like 3 or 4 dedicated just for our topics we've been going over and stuff. So I'm like, well, this is space calls going deep. So yeah, I was just gonna say, like, this. I mean, we talked about a lot. Like, it's like you gotta almost have like deja vu or like rewind, like, or just like have. Maybe me, I just have memory lapse, but like all these things that are happening, like everything we talked about, like big events, especially just the certain key moments of things that have happened. Besides we got to zoom out. Like what the only thing they have left besides the numbers that they've been manipulating for so long is the manipulation of words. And they're doing this like yeah, with our play, but they're doing this on a larger scale with our society with manipulation of words. Like so we're dealing with the word dilution. And I loved how that post, it was like what 2 posts ago when it was talking about dilution. Yeah, it does mean debt reduction. Yeah, it does mean taking things off the books. That's freaking awesome. But like also the word recession was just kind of renamed. Like it was 2 quarters of downward turn, and we're manipulating all types of words now. And I say it's a really the last leg. Like it's like if we're not looking at everything and hearing everything, this is that last leg of like this is all we got left. We can bash it. We can manipulate people's psychology. This is not just
is stagflation a new word? I never heard that before until this year, but.
Well, stagflation. I'm pretty sure there's probably
It's been around.
I don't know. It depends on if it's a slang term or a real term. It's probably been used here and there with amongst the.
It just hasn't been capitalized on in a long time. It's a pretty known word. So.
But yeah, I just wanted to say it's a major manipulation of words going down, and then of those windows that I had looked up, we were talking about like it's so funny, like yeah, I mean we've been buying and holding, and all of a sudden they're irritated with people that have been holding 3 months, 6. I mean, if you're in this place since the very beginning, they're agitated after 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. Forbes right now stating typically a long-term investment means 5 years or more. There's no firm definition, but by understanding the funds that you need to invest, you will need a better sense of appropriate investments to choose how you the risk you take on. So I guess these hedgies, I mean, like these shorts didn't plan accordingly. They thought it was a hit and miss play.
Did it just get really quiet in here?
Yeah, it did. Did it cut out? Did I cut out?
No, I can hear you. I feel like everyone like just fell asleep at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I stopped talking. I did a little reset. But I said the Forbes little article about 3 to 5 years, and it's just it's weird how they do point their finger like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it takes me back to another article that I read. The whole reason, I mean, of package deals, it was to put confidence back in or manipulate the minds of the American public. Like 401ks was the only way to get the American public back in the market after the major crash of the 20s. And it's all they have left at this point. Again, they're like, damn, the numbers are skewed, even though they've been skewing the numbers the whole time, essentially. So I want to talk about the Forbes, and then how everybody has this like idea that they're scared about not getting their ape. I'm gonna get my ape, and I'm searching for the buy button. Like that's what I'm like. I got some paper powder loaded, baby, and I'm gonna be looking for the buy button. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for my shares, but I'm looking for that buy button also. So those are the things that I was sitting on the back waiting to say in some of my notes. But I just think it's last leg. I mean, manipulation of words is very high right now. It's so high. And it's like, nah. And it's like when News Corp owns all these people, we talk about Jim Cramer. No, man, he's paid so much on the side for everything. He was part of a game plan back in the 80s. Like, all right, we're going to have a news company that talks about mad money, gets everybody excited. And then we're just going to totally manipulate shit in its basic form, like.
The only way you can get away with manipulation is as people with a lack of knowledge and education. And the problem now is everybody's got the education and knowledge. It's really hard to manipulate people when they're educated.
That's why they absolutely freaking hate people like me who've built a following and have people actually like hearing and listening and discussing and doing exactly what you just said, Bob. They absolutely hate me. And I mean, it runs deep. If you really start digging, the rabbit hole runs deep because it's like, one person's kind of being controlled by the next tier, and there's like levels to this thing. And we're ultimately up against some old money and some big banks, and they don't like us. They don't like that we've come through and beat them at their own game.
Do you ever get threats? Like people like you that are exposed, like I always consider, because the people with that kind of money, man, can, they can still make stuff happen. Like, do you get calls, threats, or things like that?
I've been threatened a bunch. I've been threatened
Bro,
a ton.
I'm the admin of the Facebook. I've been saying here, Tara. Does anybody get the Hong Kong calls? I get like, because I'm on LinkedIn. No, I'm Hong Kong. Like, it's like my phone is crazy. I had to like stop being the admin of the 30,000 person Facebook group because of like, it fucked up my business. I was like getting flooded. Yeah. Fuck yeah. They fuck with everybody, man. They're going to fuck with you, man. Bob, where's your picture? Expose yourself. Exactly. It sucks. It sucks, man.
Well, I mean, the joke calls and stuff, but I always believe like they go as serious as, you know, like kidnapping and shit like that. Like maybe I'm just paranoid, but that's what I feel like, you know, when you back up people with that kind of money into a corner.
Dude, I get texts from girls that say, "How you doing? I'm from Hong Kong. How's your trade going?" And that's I mean, it's flooding. It's crazy, dude. Like, and it's all to like fuck up your relationship or to fuck up something. I don't understand it. Like, it's crazy.
I try not to expose myself that much, so that's why I keep my picture off. I got a few different accounts.
I see that.
I don't have the balls that Tara has.
Tara leads the front of people that put themselves out there, but Tara, the amazing things that Tara's done over the past year, Spence, the amazing things you've done, Swing, like Kat, like there's a lot of OGs in this group right now, a lot of OGs that have put themselves out there and that are out there, and fucking, hey, you know what, we've all gone through similar stuff, and I gotta applaud a lot of people in this room. So I scroll down, and a lot of us follow each other, a lot of us know each other, and we're battling, bro, battling. Bob, put your picture out there. No, I'm just joking. I love you, bro. I love you.
You guys definitely have bigger balls than me. Like even Kat, something like when I seen what she was doing, that's when I started calling my broker and stuff. I'm like, I'm kind of lazy. Like people are going out and putting stickers and flying planes, and I can barely even like dial a phone number. So I started calling.
You're on the space going. You've been preaching some good stuff, man. You've been bringing up some good points, man. So that's a good part of the community, man. We need it. Anything, man. Everything. Anything, everything. We're all in this together.
No, for sure. I was always in the just kind of the shadows, like watching, right? Because I was the guy that these guys fucking robbed all the time, like thousands of dollars. I go into a good stock, the media would tell me this, and this is like the first time that it's ever worked properly for me. is with you guys, and I love the education. I'm a professor, so like I thrive off that. And you can't get educated any better on finance than you guys. And Spencer, I DRS my shares because I seen you're getting a little heated too.
I think it's how y'all guys doing the evening. I just want to ask a couple of things there. Maybe somebody knows. This is something I kind of got from my broker. And my understanding from them is that when they do this APE share, that a company or the company that issues the APE shares or whatever has to, if they want to, have to apply for the options trade for it to be traded on options. Does anybody know this?
I don't think there is any options.
Well, I know there's not any options, but what I'm saying is my understanding is the company has to apply if it wants options to be on it.
That sounds like it makes sense. I'm not speaking from knowledge, but that sounds practical.
Because that's what the broker told me. I mean, he sort of gave me like there was a 30-day window if there was to be any options, and that lists.
What's the benefit to a company if they have options? Like, there's obviously got to be a benefit, right? I does anybody know?
I wouldn't know. I mean, I think we're better off with it not having any options.
I feel like Adam's not going to bother. Like this, I don't feel like this is a forever stock for Adam, and I don't think unless there's some crazy value for him. Like there's always got to be value for somebody to do something. I don't think there'll be an option chain, but that's just me. And I don't have years experience or anything, guys. So take it at will.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Hey guys, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question kind of at large. And I had to take a second to zoom out from AMC as a specific meme retail stock and talk more about retail in general. What do we kind of define as, retail trading, and how can we quantitatively affect a market if theoretically all we're talking about are, 5 to 10 meme stocks? Or is it more than that? Are we, as a group, as the apes in general, affecting more than just the 5 or 10 meme stocks that are out there?
I'd say we definitely affect more than 5 or 10.
Yeah, I'd say 25%.
But also think about it this way too.
I think we're
you have these hedge
packing.
funds and market makers who are spending millions of dollars to understand the psychology of retail investors, and we have stepped up and proved that isn't going to work. So what they have left is to try to understand where we're going, and they have no idea. They can't buy their way into this one. So it's going to affect more than just the meme stocks. It's going to affect what they're able to do moving forward with any other stocks or securities.
I was watching a couple of interviews and a documentary over the last couple of months, and it seems like there's kind of a definite divide, right? And it's the Wall Street folks who think that we're a bunch of idiots who are just throwing away and YOLOing money because we have nothing better to spend it on, versus the people who understand that we're a new class of investor who don't want to be pigeonholed into, a Vanguard 500 fund or whatever, simply because we have different philosophies than, and whether they be, political, social, environmental, whatever your desire is, I want to support a specific group of stocks as a retail investor versus, my father told me to buy, a S&P 500 Dow, and stick it in my account and forget about it for 30 years till I retire type thing. You know what I mean? We want to be active. We want to be socially responsible. And like we've done with AMC, save a company from bankruptcy, be it by hook or by crook, by, intention or by COVID.
I think it's neat the amount of, what drew me to you guys was there was a lot of people and a lot of brains, and I just think you can't beat out that many brains together. It's funny they call you were being dumb money, but it's so dumb to bet against, I don't know the numbers, guys, but it's astronomical. There's a lot of brains. There's got to be a whole bunch of geniuses in the mix with us. These guys got 7 brains. So for me, it just seemed like, it makes sense going with these guys.
Real quick, back to the options thing. You guys, preferred stocks are usually more stable, so they don't necessarily come under, options trading most of the time. This one will be a little more volatile, but I see absolutely no rhyme or reason why you would want this traded as an option. I especially if it's a potentially convertible AMC play, by vote. It doesn't make much sense. So.
I feel like apes are going to be a short-term thing. I don't think it'll be around too long. That's my feeling.
Depends on how the vote rolls in the next annual. If they bring it up for conversion. So
no, that's
personally,
true.
I would like to see it stay around. I would personally love to. I plan on always keeping at least 100 shares of it. So
what happens if you take it off the NASDAQ though? What happens if you just close it down?
The apes still exist though.
Yeah,
it will.
Well, no, I mean us apes will still exist.
Well, here's the thing. It's going on to NYSE. If it's converted, then your shares will go to AMC. But there's always room for more issuance in another dividend or a sale. So it's going to be around. I think, what did they say? They had 5 billion potential apes. Was that correct, Swing? Or am I miss?
Yes, 5 billion on standby.
something like 4.5 billion in reserves plus the 517 million that are going to be issued later this month. I look at it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Personally, I'll never vote to convert. Honestly, I'd rather have the APE preferred shares around to keep that pressure on short sellers, because it's always going to be there and they're always going to need to have to buy it to fulfill their positions if another dividend's issued. So
I look at it as if the positions should almost be reversed, right? So we, as the shareholding majority, vote to lock in APE as a preferred stock that we control, for lack of a better term, votes in the company. Let AMC be publicly traded and allow them to sell more shares to generate revenue and capital. Because if we do nothing but hold, right, eventually there's going to be nothing left to hold. If we manage to squeeze this thing and all the naked shorts are exposed, and assuming there's some changes to the laws because of it, then there's going to be a limitation as to what they can raise in capital without issuing out stock. So why would we make the preferred stock the one that's issued out, and therefore, you know, if you want to use the term diluted or whatever, you know, as opposed to letting the general stock be the one that's used to generate capital, the preferred stock for those of us that have earned the right to be the voting controlling shareholders.
Well, think of this too. Bigham's posted this actually the other day. You know, if there is a conversion and there's more AMC stock, Adam Aaron could come and turn around after we have more revenues and we're cash flow positive and say, hey, we're going to start buying back. Then that effectively erases their debt and the supposed dilution.
And that's what makes sense to me. That I think the dilution is, the debt's gone when he sells those shares back. But exactly what you're saying is what I was thinking.
Well, they could do the dilution, put the APE shares out there, make the money, pay the debt. Then we get the credit card, which is going to bring in my opinion, at least $1.5 billion annually. Retail popcorn and grocery stores, $300 million annually. And Adam Aaron even said for 2023, just the movie and concession industry alone for AMC is going to increase by $1 billion. So they're going to have this cash cow coming in 2023 that they could use to effectively finish erasing debt and then buy back to erase any dilution. And AMC will be a freaking peach, man.
Well, they don't even need APE after most of this, and it's a short term. That's why I don't think APE stays around, because once they got this hopping, like they got no debt, they got cash flow. Like those are insane companies though in the recession.
Well, I'll tell you this, for the movie portion of the industry, 2022 Q4 you got Avatar, which is going to just blow up. But then John Wick 4, I just found out that I don't know if anybody's a nerd like I am, but it's got Donnie Yen in it, man. He's one of my favorite actors ever. So the new John Wick movie is going to be absolutely fire.
So the other side of that coin, right, is the voting control. So if you take the capital fundraising away from the value of the stock, there's still right now a limited control split of votes, right? If we own 80% of the common stock, give or take, whatever the number is right now, we also control 80% of the voting shares. So there's got to be a certain point where the board has got to say, hey, we need to either A, keep listening to the apes for our votes, or B, let's take some of that control and put it back into the hands of.
That's what they'll do. The institution will own 50% of this after.
I still think something that's going to happen later on that everybody's missing is that the common shares and preferred shares are both privy to any future dividends that are going out. And I'm telling you, if Adam Aaron and company ever decided to go to Highcroft and buy X amount of silver, mint half-gram coins and issue them as a dividend, it would absolutely blow APE and AMC through the roof. Because then you have another instance. You have another instance of a 1-to-1, but you're also getting a dividend paid in silver that can increase in value over the years. So that would be huge.
looked a whole lot at the precious metal speculation, but I know that, for example, gold really isn't performing hand in hand as well as they expected it to. So is that really, other than cool, we got a nice shiny coin, is that really something we want to look at when the main cash generator of the company is entertainment? I could see AMC eventually acquiring Netflix or one of the other streaming services that's not, that's going to start underperforming as more and more of them flood the market. Hell, HBO is getting ready to shut down HBO Max in favor of Discovery Plus, which started off as, home improvement shows. So, how bad does your streaming service revenue have to look when you take a major catalog tentpole release platform and spin it off to the home improvement show platform?
See, the problem with streaming is the market share is so diluted. There's too many streaming platforms, so it's becoming increasingly hard for people to make profit on their streaming platforms.
Correct.
I personally would like to see AMC do a little bit more with AMC On Demand, maybe host like some Disney Plus shows on it, because I would pay, $5 a pop or whatever to watch specific Disney Plus content like Kenobi, instead of paying completely for an entire year of Disney Plus. So
I actually thought about it.
Did you guys, really quick, I just wanted to say, did you guys hear were you guys discussing that Disney is raising their streaming cost by 38%?
38% on the non-ad supported, right?
That's not a good thing, considering that She-Hulk looks like an absolute another disaster show on Disney Plus. So
my thought is it's good for movie theaters, though. I mean, bullish for AMC. But
and I agree with you there. And actually, to the point, right? Yeah. What's to keep a Disney from saying, hey, you know what? We're going to do first release instead of doing first release on our preferred tier platform. We're going to do first release in a partnership with AMC, and you guys can buy a subscription every Wednesday night at 8:00 at your local AMC. Go watch Kenobi, and you pay $15. And you get to watch 6 episodes. You get a special pass or a card or whatever. And so every Wednesday night, you turn it off to the theater. You're buying popcorn. You're buying sodas. And you're watching, the first release of Kenobi as opposed to waiting for it to hit Disney Plus's premium stream.
See, I tweeted that idea probably a few weeks right before news came out that Disney Plus did a theater release for Kenobi up in Canada. At a different, I think it was, or maybe it was Cinemark. Maybe it was the Cinemark theater, but they did release it in theater. So they definitely need to start doing that more and more. And I know Netflix is talking about doing theatrical releases now for their movies.
What do you guys think about NFT movies, where you own it in your wallet? That's always what I've been suspecting with Ryan Cohen over there. Because
actors also prefer theatrical releases too, because isn't that like a portion of what they make from the movie?
Oh, when they release the movie?
Yeah, like they have
that kind of deal.
You don't get that with streaming,
right? Well, that's why I think the NFT movie works, because it puts a lot of the money back to the creators. And you owned it, and I mean, when I buy a streaming movie, like, it disappears after 6 months. I bought so many movies, I don't know where they are.
I just don't understand how movies pay for themselves being released on streaming exclusively.
They don't, which is why you see production values in movies going down for anything other than a major tentpole release, right? You're not going to put $100 million into, Dr. Dolittle 4.
Well,
but,
that's why
if you can make it with a couple of no-name actors and one B-grade actor for $10 or $15 million, release it on streaming, get a percentage of viewership over 5 years, because everyone's kid wants to watch the goofy animals dancing around. That's how you turn it into a moneymaker on a streaming platform.
and top actors will never work with streaming. It's almost like you're a B-grade actor. There's a reputation that goes. They'll never get them on that.
Yep. Tom Cruise said specifically, "I make movies for the big screen," and look what happened with Top Gun. And then, you had the Black Widow failure. They lost a ton of money on the streaming release of Black Widow because they didn't go to theater first. And Scarlett Johansson sued and won, which good on her. That was phenomenal. She did that.
But you know what? I think that in particular, along with, for example, the last Bond movie, we're a victim of the downturn of public attendance because of COVID, right? If that movie was released 3 years ago, before everyone was in lockdown, I think that you would have seen that hit the regular theaters, gather its 6-week return, and then pop up on streaming services.
Yeah, if the last Bond movie would have had a better time frame, it would have made way more money. I've probably watched that like 5 or 6 times already. I bought it on AMC on demand. So
yeah, but it's those particular tent poles, or what would normally be a tent pole, were affected at the time because of many factors, including COVID lockdown. Right. Once we move past that, or we've figured out how to deal with it one way or the other, you're still always going to have those major theatrical releases, right? So for a Paramount, a Disney, and a whoever, they're going to make tent poles because they generate the interest. They generate the pizzazz. But for every one of those, they're still going to make, a Batgirl or whatever that's kind of a mediocre at best, release it to streaming, and just let it kind of crank out revenue for the next 5 years of people watching it at a dime a pop or whatever they get per showing per viewer, because it's constant steady revenue. And if you do enough of them, they can support the $500 million Black Widow failure every now and again, as long as you don't have too many of them. Because we all know Black Widow still made money, just didn't make as much money as they wanted.
Right.
I think what people have got to remember, I don't know if you guys spoke about this during that last little bit of conversation, but just the whole, theatrical window that, during the pandemic, it was almost like a trial and run or, trial and error thing where they were just releasing movies on streaming because theaters were shut down. And a lot of studios actually held off on even releasing their movies because they wanted to wait for theaters to be back and operating as usual. And even when they first initially opened up theaters, they were only allowed to have like 50% capacity or something for a while there. And, studios still postpone movies. So even Top Gun, it had been delayed from May, or it was supposed to come out in September last year. I can't remember, but they had postponed that one. So, and I think they, aren't regretting that at all, with the amount of money and revenue they made. But I think something huge is, these 45-day windows in these studios having to sort of learn their lesson with how much money they lose when they do these simultaneous releases on streaming. Because when they do that, movies are immediately pirated and people are immediately able to watch them for free.
Correct.
So not only are theaters losing, streaming service is losing, studios are losing. Everyone's losing. So, I think studios had to really recognize that and say, we have got to, try this 45-day or this window where movies are only in theaters, because no one wants to ruin a great movie with a cam version. And the only pirated version of any movie in theaters that you're going to get is going to be a cam version.
Correct. And that's actually a point I was going to make. But to that point, right, on a bigger picture, remember that most of those movies that hit during the pandemic time were done a year prior. They were done in 2019, and they were waiting for their window for release. Bond movies almost religiously released in that second week of October, fourth quarter. And they had to change it, and then it was pushed back to February, then it was pushed back to June, then it was pushed back to October again a year later. And the studios are going, for every month this thing sits in a can and isn't getting viewed, is money we still got to pay the actors and the production team and everybody else. And that's money that we've loaned out at X% interest, and all the accounting wonderfulness there. but it's not generating any revenue. So somebody in the accounting department is going, all right, stick this thing on a streamer. Let's get some money in so we can at least pay off the interest. And then if we have to write it off against the taxes, we write it off against the taxes. Fortunately, Bond made $600 million, somewhere in that ballpark, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't a loser. It just didn't make the $1 billion mark that they wanted to make by, all the marketing and hype in a movie theater.
I'll tell you what they need to do is they need to start, and AMC needs to get on board with this quick with Netflix and other platforms, is start hosting season finales in theater, because I would have paid some prime money to see the last episode of Stranger Things season 4 in IMAX. Yep. It was absolutely
100% yes, Spence. I mean, and even old classics like redo the Star Wars, saga, and like just all of these things where they're like these cult followings. And but 100% that would be amazing to go do that.
I'm older than a lot of you, and you probably might not remember Midnight Movie Madness, right? And actually, it was an AMC thing back when I was a kid, and we used to go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And you'd bring your squirt guns and your toast and your raincoats, and it was an event. I mean, it was an absolute blast. It's what you did as kids. You went out, you drank some beers, you got crazy, and you went to the Midnight Movie Madness Rocky Horror Picture Show. And you're right, Tara. There are opportunities galore to utilize theater time and space for things outside of the big tentpole releases. The Kenobi watch parties, every time they want to release. I mean, even if She-Hulk is terrible, could you imagine if they said, hey, we're going to run the first 3 episodes a week before in limited theater release in the top 10 or 20 markets? How much more money they can make just by doing that from all the crazy Marvel fans?
Well, these new Game of Thrones titles should be dropping in theater. That's absolutely, like, they got Jon Snow coming out and House of the Dragon and all that.
You got Game of Thrones. You got
absolutely be in theater.
Yeah, you got Game of Thrones. You got the Lord of the Rings movies coming out. Over the last couple of years, you've had the Jack Reacher TV series, which has been pretty popular. The Boys on Amazon Prime. There are a lot of shows that have excellent production value, right? I mean, just look at The Boys. I use The Boys because I've been talking about it at work the last couple of days. But look at The Boys and compare that to something like, say, any of the last DC movie releases, Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman, whatever. The production value is on par. The acting is on par. They're talking about giving what's his name an Emmy for playing Homelander. And this is a show that came from a comic book, just like all the others do. But I guarantee you, unless you're a hardcore fan, you would have never heard about The Boys until it started getting the hype. Now you take that.
I wanted to just say, someone in my DMs, Glock9, actually just DM'd me and said that he's in the space listening and wanted to share that Tom Cruise is currently working on 3 new films and that he saw it trending on Twitter. So just another thing to keep in mind.
Including a musical, and I think they shot one in outer space, didn't they?
If they do another Top Gun, and I'm calling this right now, this is to Paramount Pictures, you need to listen to me. You need to do Top Gun Beginnings and have it where Maverick's dad and Viper are flying around in Nam in their F4s. I think it would be an absolute killer movie.
Yeah, there's a certain, but you know what else you do, right? Is you take a look at big tentpoles that the theater chains have. For example, Paramount has owned Star Trek for 60 years. And we've all looked at Star Trek on TV and gone, ugh, it's been terrible, until Strange New Worlds came out. They finally got it right. And then you look at the Orville and you go, hey, season 3 of the Orville has been pretty damn good. Shows like that have been getting the attention from the production studios because they realize there's an audience for them. Let's face it, us apes, us nerd apes especially, are going to pay $10 to go see, Strange New Worlds or the Orville on a giant fucking movie theater screen. And we'll pay the $15 for popcorn and a soda to do it. And we'll be happy doing it.
The other thing too, like me and my wife right now want to go to the theaters, but we got nothing. Like we've seen it all. So if you had these kind of options, like we kind of just like going to the theaters. But I don't like watching a movie twice. but these options you say are golden because like we really want to go, but there's no reason to.
And they've done it with certain. They've done it with certain other things, right? You know, the Metropolitan Night at the Opera, which is great if you love opera. I'm not an opera fan. I like a couple of them, but I'm not an opera fan. I'm not going to go spend that money to go watch, you know, an opera. I'll go spend it to watch Kenobi. I'll go watch it or spend it to go watch Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's where your disposable income is. It's not in the PBS crowd anymore. Imagine this. You can deal with NFL Monday Night Football. Imagine opening up Monday Night Football on a giant effing screen with an open bar outside. How much revenue would you get from every drunk redneck that loves football who wants to watch it and get out of the house on Monday nights?
And I would pay a solid $20 to watch Stranger Things season finale in theater and the final episode of Kenobi in theater.
Yeah.
I think sports would be a really big one, but not even just having a bar outside, but having like an attendant that could also make some money too.
Sure.
Hey guys,
there's lots of options now.
Hey guys, Ace here. I have a question. Has anyone got confirmation that there won't be options on APE? Because I feel like we're going to be in some hot water if they don't adjust the options pricing on AMC as of the 22nd. Because if some of the value from AMC is going to be moved over to APE and they don't adjust that pricing, the puts, aka shorts, are going to be pretty much in the money.
Really quick, before we
option
go on to that topic, just really fast, I want to say, because John just DM'd me that, I don't know if you guys mentioned this, that Miles Teller confirms that he's been in talks with Tom Cruise about a Top Gun 3. Okay, you can go back to the ape div.
Yeah, sure. I'm just wondering if anybody's having regular dialogue with Adam Aaron. It might be helpful to figure out, if APE's going to have options, which I think we all want because we want people to short it so that it can squeeze as well.
We literally do not want APE to have options.
Let me ask you
options
this.
is where the crime is created.
Let me ask you this. Let's say the price of AMC and APE are $20 on the 22nd, and let's just say, for instance, APE is $10 and AMC is $10. If they don't adjust that pricing or move half the option,
they will.
I guess my question is, how will they adjust it? Because they don't know if APE is going to be 50% of the value, 10%, 20%. So it's going to probably fluctuate based on volatility. That's going to be really important because that could be basically a complete backdoor for the shorts to cover through puts if they don't adjust the pricing properly or adjust it at all. And, the price of AMC could drop to 10 if APE's at 10. And if they have, $12 puts, they're going to clear.
They will adjust the options chain.
Just wondering how they plan on doing it. If they do it too much, it could hurt us. If they don't do it enough, it could hurt us. And I feel like it's going to be a moving target. That's like a white elephant in the room.
Isn't there like
I don't
a
think
dark
it's not a white elephant in the room. I appreciate you trying to potentially scare
I'm not scaring.
people.
I probably own more shares of AMC than anybody on this call. So
every
I'm
call
very
you
concerned.
come in and have some kind of scare tactic up your sleeve.
It's not a scare tactic.
It's been
I'm asking. You guys seem really defensive that you don't anything that goes against your narrative. You don't like. I'm here telling you that
it's not that. It's just I'm really good at calling out bullshit.
I'll answer your question if you don't want to just railroad me with. So the OCC will do one of two things because there's two ways to handle a split. They will split the options chain and they'll become a new options chain that'll exist post APE. And so that is one way that they can handle it, or they will go forward with it the way that GME was handled. And that was that you have double the options at half the price.
Basically. But GME was the same ticker. This is two separate tickers.
Yes, I understand, which is why I don't think it'll be that. They'll create a second options chain that will represent the pricing going forward. So basically, any current and it's actually, in my opinion, potentially a bullish scenario, because if you have long-standing puts on AMC, and now you have this secondary options chain, which is going to become the primary, the old options chain quickly becomes really illiquid because people aren't buying new options on that chain, and so those essentially become, they aren't necessarily, but it's almost like it's position close only, in that they don't, people will be hesitant to buy new options on that, because that will represent the old chain. Given that there's a second security, I have to imagine they're going to have to create a secondary options chain. I think their hands will be forced, which is really what they should have done on GameStop. They did not handle it the way that most split dividend
I understand that.
work.
I guess the pricing is the issue.
Yeah,
like, what percentage are they going to allocate of the existing options to? Well, let me finish. You're like interrupting
yes,
me.
and I'm going to answer, and I'll answer it. I already know what you're going to.
But I'm not done asking the question. Seems like you guys are super rude to everyone.
All right, hold on a minute. Swing, I'll let you. Let me just read Ape Ace's last tweet. Let's say AMC does an offering and sells Ape to cure debt. Then what? Company keeps losing $500 million a year, so he just keeps raising and diluting. Vicious cycle. Only answer is sell it, squeeze. Dude, you literally are like such an obvious shill, and you're not for AMC. I'm a shill
because I'm here just for the squeeze. That makes me
no
a shill.
Your posts and your consistent, fear tactics are very apparent.
They're legitimate. Let me ask you something. If I hand you $1 billion to buy a company,
interrupting you. He was trying to answer your question, and you interrupted him, and then you told him.
I'm not worried about the process. I'm worried about the pricing.
That's gaslighting. But maybe Swing can correct this. But security can't be traded on options unless it has 2.4 million volume for 12 months. Ape's a new security, so I don't know if that volume carries over from AMC. And
exactly.
Swing will have to correct me on that. But there may not even be options on Ape.
Yes.
You guys, I really don't want to kick him. I really want to keep him in here because the thing is I think, having these discussions open is important, because some people, because of other people who have made comments, maybe one you in particular, about what to do with your ape, I think it's important we open the floor up and have these discussions. So if it gets heated, we'll drop people, but I think without talking over each other, without interrupting or being, rude or condescending, we can have a discussion about this. So if you guys don't mind, but Mr. Burke, I think you were about to say something, or you were asking Swing something.
Well, I don't know. I guess nobody heard me, but I was saying that there might not even be options on. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of an echo here, but there may not even be options on Ape, because to qualify for options, security has to trade for 12 months with a specific volume. And I was saying that maybe Swing could correct me on that, if that maybe the volume carries over from AMC, but I would think that because Ape hasn't traded for 12 months at a specified volume, that it doesn't qualify for options.
I don't think it does, and it's also got to maintain a certain price. But since it's a different CUSIP, I'm not 100% sure that the volume would carry over. But as of right now, when APE is distributed out for the first week, it's not going to meet the requirements to be traded on the options chain.
Yeah, I understand that. And guys, I know I seem like a shill, but I promise you, I'm holding this for the squeeze. That's my opinion. You guys are all welcome to hold it long term. I'm not going to tell you what to do or talk down to you. Everyone should make their own informed decision. However, I feel as though if they don't adjust the pricing on the options of AMC properly, and they don't attribute enough of the value to Ape, the puts are going to clear and the calls are going to miss, and that's
you're spreading FUD, so don't, just stop.
I'm spreading what?
You're spreading FUD, so just stop. I already answered your question.
No, you didn't answer how they're going to price it. You told me what they're going to do, but I think someone should reach out to Adam Aaron. I think someone should.
It's not up to him. It's not up to him.
How do they adjust it when they do stock splits, Ape Ace?
Nope. Well, when a stock split, when it's the same ticker, it's a non-issue, right, Tara? Like it's a non-issue. If you give a dividend or if you split 4 times, they just quadruple cut it in quarters. It's an easy math thing when it's the same stock. The issue is that come the 22nd, you're going to see extreme volatility, and I don't know that there's a system that's going to sit there and add APE and AMC and then allocate what percentage the options should be adjusted to. That's the problem.
It's going to be sell only with the new option chain, for sure.
For AMC?
So definitely.
For AMC and APE's not going to have an option chain, no.
So you won't be able to buy options on AMC after the 22nd? That's what you're saying?
No, it'll have a new option chain, not the one it's using. The one it's using, it will be sell only. And
I understand, but the old option chain, how do they adjust that pricing so that the puts don't clear?
Okay, so I just got a DM from Michael Lamb. He sent me a link with some information, and it says the options chain will split day 1.
And 8 base, I appreciate that you claim that everyone is interrupting you, but then as soon as someone starts answering your question and you don't like the fact that it's going against a narrative that you're trying to paint, you interrupt them and don't let them finish actually answering the question that you asked to begin with. So if that's going to be the way that you conversate with someone, maybe you should move down to listener of your own accord. If you would like to hear people's opinion about stuff, then maybe don't interrupt them and let them finish what they've said. What I suspect, I am currently Googling the OCC because typically they make announcements after splits of what they're doing with options chain. I can't currently put my hands on it, but I'm going to be continuing on the lookout for it. I remember that GameStop's announcement kind of came out relatively late, and people were a little surprised by the fact that they didn't create a new chain, but that they decided to do the multiplication and dividing the price by 4.
What about when
given that the capital structure divided by 2, then it is essentially what's happening here. I imagine it's going to be divided by 2, whether one trades more on day 1 than the other. That is to be seen. But given that literally the capital structure is getting divided in 2 by having everyone get a 1-for-1 for every share of AMC, you get 1 preferred, and in theory they should be valued roughly the same. I would have to imagine dividing is the only option. It's the only makes sense option for them to do.
Okay.
What about when Overstock? I'm sorry. What about when Overstock split and went to OSTKO? Do we know what happened there with options?
That was a bit of a different scenario because that was a preferred dividend, I believe, of 1 preferred for every 5 that you owned. So I imagine the options chain repriced, knowing that dividend was going to go out, but no change to the actual options chain because, just the same way as if someone paid out a cash dividend, because that's because it was basically a percentage of the a percentage of the ownership. It was basically like they gave a 20% dividend, essentially, 20% one-time dividend, because dividends obviously happen all the time in options, and the options maker knows that option is coming out of the stock, and so they price the options accordingly based off of the timing of the option of that payout going out.
So with the exception of the 5-to-1 ratio, though, how is it significantly different?
That's a pretty big difference because you're saying 5, it's a one-time dividend of that amount versus basically literally doubling the capital structure of the company.
hate to change the subject really quick, but I'm seeing a lot of talk about BlackRock and that 50% share reduction they did, and User of Intellect is talking about basically BlackRock sold AMC shares. Oh man, my feed just updated right when I was reading it. Bastards. BlackRock sold AMC shares basically to throw out in the dark pool that people could use to cover FTDs. But apparently now BlackRock is suspending withdrawals. Did anybody hear that?
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, that's been in, I think that news dropped a couple days ago.
Did they just file to stop the withdrawals with SEC?
That's what I'm looking. Let's see. They suspended the right to redemption for the Russian ETF, which means withdrawals are suspended, not enough money maybe. BlackRock just submitted a request to suspend the right to redemption to their closed Russia ETF. This has never happened to the company before, and in my opinion is the start of the great Ponzi scheme collapse. Supposedly they had $10 trillion, but they can't seem to pay their investors in that ETF, which is possibly why they had to get rid of 25 million some shares of AMC. So I don't know. That's a pretty big deal. BlackRock's been kind of a thorn in the side of everybody for a long time. So
I think it's sweet because they can't paper hand on us now.
it's a very good point.
We just need to buy up those shares.
I know Tara was going at BlackRock last month quite hard too. I saw her tweets.
So to answer a little bit about the question, so I just found the form that went out for the GameStop's split. It looks like that they made their announcement on July, the OCC, speaking of the OCC, about how they were handling the options chain. They sent that out on the 8th of July. And I was just trying to confirm the date for the original. Let's see. Does anybody happen to know what date Ryan Cohen actually announced, or not Ryan Cohen, but the board announced the split for GameStop? I was just trying to find the dates just to compare to see how long it took the OCC to come out with that form.
Let me do the PC thing. I'll try to figure it out.
Okay, I think I found it. It looks like they announced it on July 6th. So it only took them 2 days to come up with that OCC announcement. So I'm gonna, now that I found where that form is, I'm gonna do another look and see if I can find it for AMC, so we can answer Ape, whatever his name is, his question, his concern about them repricing the options, because I guarantee you that they're going to reprice options after the split. They have to, because of how it's done. I imagine, like I said, it's going to be 50-50. It's the only way that makes sense in my head how it'll work, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that if all those options expire tomorrow, that's going to be the market makers paying for that. There's no way they're going to do that. Contrary to what it seemed to me that Ace was insinuating.
Yeah, and Stockwitz has been up here for the past 2 days showing us the immense call options purchases from institutions. They would know before anybody if this was going to be a problem. They probably would not be buying call options. So it's I mean, you can look up the NYSE and the different requirements for options trading on tickers, and what you need to meet as requirements. And not only that, AMC would have to file some type of form for this anyways. The only thing that's been filed is for them to list on the NYSE as of now.
Just for a little laugh, you know that the tagline for the options clearing corporation, which is the foundation for secure markets, that's what they try to claim on their homepage. I think that's kind of amusing.
Seems like the OCC's been awful busy this week with multiple tickers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my puppy is hungry. I'm going to feed him and go for a walk. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And thank you, Tara, for hosting another phenomenal space. And Stockwitz, Burr, Swing, everybody.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Please like and subscribe. It's just time to shut down. I'm not going to do space calls more than 2 to 3 hours a day anymore. It's just so draining. I really appreciate everybody coming. Hope you guys got some questions answered. Super excited for the APE dividend on the 22nd at 19th. I cannot freaking wait. Anyways, appreciate y'all.